Hello everyone and welcome to the Community Spotlight. We've got a sort of a retro grab bag for you all, even though we're starting it off with a remaster of a retro game. It still counts. Well, we count that, right? But we're starting off with Sonic CD by Supersonic. But before we get too much into Supersonic, just a few and Sonic CD, let's talk about a few quick announcements for Hotfix. Information on all of our Hotfix shows is available at gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. So if you're not available with our wide variety of shows, you can go there, see everything or be showing off. We've got a lot of weekly content most of the days of the week. If you're watching on YouTube, you'd like to support our live content, please consider checking us out at twitch.tv/GDQ. And of course, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe free using your Prime Gaming. We would appreciate it if you would subscribe, as it helps support Hotfix content and allow us to keep putting on events. So if you missed any of the runs from HDQ or you want to check out other Hotfix VODs, you can check out our YouTube, youtube.com/gamesdonequick. And of course, if you tune in tomorrow, it's going to be Random Number Generation starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. I don't know exactly what games they're doing, but it's a show about randomizers, randomizer community. Sometimes they do randomizer adjacent stuff like bingo, that sort of thing. It's hosted by Skybills. It's usually a good time. So definitely recommend you check that out. But Supersonic, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Well, we're joined by two pretty cool people over here, Hypnotics and Sonic Kustar. How are you both doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
So,
doing fine, I suppose.
No problem. So Sonic CD, I'm actually not super familiar with this game, and I know a few people in chat echoed that sentiment. So what would be the elevator pitch you'd give for this game for people who've never seen it before?
This is pretty much an obscure Sonic title for the most part. This did originally release on the Sega CD back in 1993, but we are playing the 2011 version, which did come out on PS3, Xbox 360, and Steam. And I am playing this on the Steam version. And normally the gimmick would be time traveling, which you can go to the past or the future. I don't really plan on going on either of those cycles, but it could happen accidentally, so we may see that in the run. But yeah, it's a pretty cool Sonic game overall. Like not very well known like in the earlier days, but once the remake came out, a lot of people like would be more familiar with it.
So what drew you to this game? Like what, out of all the Sonic games, what made you want to put time into this one?
Well, actually, there was a tournament that happened around August, I believe. I learned the game around that time, and that was like literally 6 months ago. So this wasn't really a Sonic game that I would normally play. I usually speedrun like the original trilogy, like 1, 2, and 3 and Knuckles. But this was one of my favorite Sonic games growing up, so I wanted to speedrun this at some point. And then when the tournament came along, I just pretty much jumped on it, and still a work in progress of trying to get better at this game, especially with some hiccups for like the later stages, but overall it's a very fun experience.
Is there anything we should be looking out for in this game if we've never seen it before, like cool stuff to keep our eyes open for?
Well, I know like usually in the opening cutscene there's just a snippet of Sonic and Metal Sonic kind of racing against each other. We will be seeing that later in the run. Other than that, yeah, just pretty much normal Sonic gameplay. We will be seeing a lot of spin dashes and peeling out and just trying to traverse the stages as fast as possible.
Is there anything you feel like you should cover before we get started? You just want to jump right into it?
I'm good to go right now.
Why don't you give me a countdown when you're good to go then?
Will do. All right, we're going to go ahead and set up a new game. And we will go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, Supersonic.
Thank you very much.
Alright, so Palm Tree Panic. This is a fairly straightforward set of levels. So generally you just want to make sure you go for the speed shoes immediately, and then just make your way to the top to just try and avoid the enemies.
Oh, yeah, taking a detour.
Yeah, that law can be a little bit tricky, but yeah, otherwise it's a fairly Act 1 here is fairly straightforward. So let's see, 31, not bad.
I hope
two-
everybody's rocking out to the music. That is one thing that Sonic CD really does shine in. It doesn't matter what soundtrack we're rocking to; they're always good.
Agreed.
I like how the OST for this level has the yay right as you finish your peel out.
It does raise the good point though, which I know it's a very hot topic for some devout fans, but I'm very much of the opinion that they're both good. Do we have personal preferences here for which soundtrack's better?
I usually like the Japanese soundtrack, but there are a few songs in the US soundtrack that I do like, mostly like Stardust Speedway, the present stages, and like the past and present as well. Or the future, I mean, not present.
How about you, Sonic?
I will say this, when it comes to the speedrun, it actually is faster to play on the Japanese soundtrack, mainly because at the end of each stage there's a score tally, and the score tally doesn't actually start until the music stops. So, and the stage clear music in the Japanese version is slightly faster. So I believe it saves around, I want to say 30-40 seconds throughout the run. So
nice. And in that time that we were talking about the soundtrack, Supersonic's just gone straight through Palm Tree Panic, quick fight with the boss, and he's through. A very intimidating boss with the the fancy colours, and funny springs and spiky shoes.
Yeah, if you haven't played, oh sorry.
No, that's all you.
I was just going to mention, if you haven't played CD, that's kind of a thing about this game. It's not usually, bosses usually aren't like hit 8 times and you're done. There's usually some kind of gimmick. So for Collision Chaos here, we're going to be facing off what the community likes to call the pinball machine, which is very interesting. But first, just Collision Chaos in general, it's kind of more of the same. It's a little bit more involved, mainly because of all the bumpers and flippers you have to deal with, so looks like Supersonic is making nice headway, however. That section that he's going through, this section he's going through right now, can especially mess you up, especially on the first time through, but looks like he made it through just fine. 53, that's not bad at all.
Most certainly earns its name, Collision Chaos.
So much collision in the stage. That's chaotic. I try to go for the wonder jump there, but
No, almost.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's a frame perfect jump, I believe. And the worst part about it is that you can actually start jumping before you clear that gap, so to speak. So if you do that, you'll just hit the ceiling of the tube and you won't get any jump height. It's really annoying.
So
unfortunately, it got sent to the bottom, so I'm gonna have to traverse through this way. Oh dear.
Like we said, Collision Chaos. There's a reason it's called that. But
yeah,
when it comes to this, Ooh, very nicely done. So this is the part where we Sega want us to believe that they did make the rest of the stage, but Sonic's just skipped over a little bit of it. Wanted to get a little bit further, but it's gonna have to maneuver through the spring corner.
Yeah.
Makes it through though. Very nice.
I feel like that's where they got the gimmick from, like in Spring Stadium in Sonic 3D Blast.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
This fight, on the other hand, oh dear.
All right, so this boss, we like to call the pinball machine because there are all sorts of bumpers and all sorts of flippers, and Robotnik actually throws out bombs, and the direction in which those bombs fly out are actually random. So there's a lot you have to try and deal with. So let's see if Supersonic can up.
Almost.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice save.
There we go.
Ah.
Okay, we're good.
Nice.
It's very easy to find yourself in that in that boss for a very long time.
that boss fight is just super chaotic.
Is the collision better than Sonic Spinball? You're not gonna like clip through the paddles if you're going too fast?
I think in every sense this game is better than Spinball. Don't tell the Spinball runners I said that.
No, I think they agree. I think they would probably agree. Ooh,
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a
just
death here.
barely missing. So this slope is referred to as the nope slope, because what you have to do is you have to gain enough speed to jump off that slope and hit the badnik so you can fly on the top of the stage just like that, and that saves you having to do a little bit of trekking around the level. I believe that's about 8 seconds worth of time save, so it's really something that you want to make sure you get. And after that, it's just a matter of going through the top and making your way to the end.
Very smooth.
30. Nice.
Then in the second zone, a lot of people who are aiming for low times will be going for a particular strategy with the time travel, but it can be a little bit of a risk, so I don't believe Supersonic is going to go for it, but it's definitely worth having a look at.
Yeah, there's some neat time travel strats if you're going for a really optimal time, but on that note, however, that's kind of the nice thing about CD as a speed run. At least this version, you don't necessarily have to go for the optimal strats in order to just simply go fast. Like, it's very flexible in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. And comparing it to CD93, there's the original release. It's much more of a glitchless experience. So it's nicer to pick up and nicer to properly dig down and learn into.
Yeah, that's especially the nice thing about this version, is that there aren't really a whole lot of glitches. There aren't really any zips. It's mainly just like optimization, movement, just nailing tricks. It's very much straightforward in that sense, I suppose.
And we get it in lovely 16:9.
Oh yes, but I will say 4x3 is better.
I think I may have to agree with you on that one then.
Well, wait. What does chat think about this? 60? Are you 16:9 or are you 4x3?
What if it changed to widescreen do? Does it like cut off the top and the bottom of the screen? Did it give you more of the horizontal screen?
Funnily enough, this is the boss that is affected by the different aspect ratio that you used in this game or CD93. So Supersonic is going to go for a quick kill. He wants to quickly get rid of the bubbles and try and find a weak spot on the boss. He doesn't quite get it, but he's going to keep on going, keep on bursting the bubbles, and soon enough we'll have a weak spot that he can one-hit Robotnik on.
That's if he decides
So
to
you
come
mentioned
down
this one's
here.
affected by the aspect ratio. How is it affected by it?
So where you line up to try and go for the quick kill is dependent on what ratio you use. So Supersonic was trying to line up with a middle tile that's just gone off screen, and that is usually a good sort of indication of where you should be to get that quick kill. And I believe it changes in different versions and different aspect ratios.
Yeah, there are a lot of like small things that different aspect ratios change. One of the more significant things that you might see later on is actually different platform cycles, which you are definitely going to experience when we reach Wacky Workbench. But yeah, with regards to that Title Tempest boss, it's more so just trying to make sure you position yourself correctly. So, Quartz Quadrant here, it's a relatively straightforward level. There's not really a whole lot that needs to be said here. There is a small, little tricky part in the beginning of Act 2 here where Supersonic could accidentally hit a spring. It's not a major time loss, it's just kind of annoying.
Little bonk.
Was that the spring you were talking about?
Nah,
That's the
nah. It's the horizontal
Okay.
one that you just saw right there. But yes, that one is also kind of annoying.
You said that, and then I saw a supersonic laugh, so I was figuring it might have been the one you're talking about.
You'll find that this game will try and throw anything at you to to put you in the wrong direction sometimes. The,
Yeah,
the
again-
platform game.
Again, there aren't really a whole lot of glitches. It's all just about knowing what to do at the right time. Say that as he makes his way through Act 2 here. The boss for this stage, or for this zone, is relatively straightforward. He's basically just going to be running on a treadmill, so a lot of the little optimizations are just going to be at the beginning here. Just making sure you stay on the ground as much as you can, making sure you take advantage of these conveyor belts. So,
You want to stay running, don't you?
gotta go
hold right.
fast.
It's leg day for Sonic. I mean,
And just like jump a little bit.
and it does get to the point where you think, what was he trying to achieve with this boss fight? Like, did he really think that this would work?
Maybe he was trying to prepare Sonic. Oh, sorry. I kept on interrupting.
No, that's alright.
I'm curious what your theory is. What was your theory?
I'm just gonna say maybe he's trying to like prepare Sonic for the inevitable race later on.
Ooh, that's a good theory.
It's foreshadowing, you know.
We don't give Sega enough credit.
Okay. I suppose we can't really ignore this any longer. Wacky Workbench.
Here we go.
It is a level. The problem with Wacky is that it's all very much determined by different cycles. So, especially like different cycles regarding to the moving platforms you see here. So, Act 1, there's not really much you can do to work around these cycles. You just kind of have to see what you get and just make sure you plan accordingly. Supersonic making some short hops. Nice safety strat.
Oh dear.
Ooh, making his way across. Yeah, that little stretch is especially notorious. Because you can accidentally get bonked right up and completely miss a platform. After that, oh, is he gonna go for the peel out? Well, that's still not bad. Ooh. Hey.
As long as
Yeah,
I'm like
48
under a
is
minute
definitely
in
not
the
bad.
Lucky Workbench stages, I'm happy with that.
Mm.
Alright, Act 2. Now, unlike Act 1, there are ways that you can work around cycles. It's just that the cycle that you have to get is incredibly tight. And it's mainly because of a specific platform that you have to get. So, he's gonna be doing a peel out here, or yeah, that's really the thing right there. That electric fence really messed you up there.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Didn't want to do it there.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was referring to when I mentioned that cycles are just an absolute mess to deal with in Wacky Workbench. It's just awful.
And I believe-
Ideally, you would have loved. Oh, sorry.
That's right. I believe the cycles, do they depend on how long you've been in the game, like including menus and everything? What cycles are going to be on?
So certain cycles, the theory that I have is that certain cycles start the moment you boot up the game, so like a global timer. And certain cycles start the moment the object is scrolled on screen. So that's kind of a small little thing that can actually be influenced by the aspect ratio. So
Ah,
Yeah, that would make sense, because you did say some of the platform cycles are different based on widescreen or standard.
yeah, but generally, if you want to go for the fastest time, you would ideally want to play in 16:9, but it's such a small, minute difference, and there's a lot of other things that you have to deal with. Thankfully, we're past what I would hope is the worst part of the game. Wacky 3 is generally straightforward. It's just a matter of jumping up on these platforms and being down step. Just a little side note. One of the things about this version is that they actually added Tails as a playable character, and there's actually a strat that you can do to beat this boss around 15 seconds faster on average, where you land on the block as it spawns in, and it's really tough and not fun, and it's probably the hardest trick in the game. So thankfully,
that Eggman
Yeah, it looked like he was doing the twist.
oh yes, Eggman. Thankfully, Supersonic made quick work of that, and 117 is definitely not bad.
I hope you're all ready to rock out to Stardust Speedway.
Oh, whoops.
Again, he's going to be looking to stay near the top of the level. Sega will lead us to believe that they've created this brilliant winding path with various different routes that you can take. We're just going to stay near the top.
Are you saying that Sega liked
You're
us?
saying that the top route in a Sonic game
Never.
is fast? I'm shocked.
What is this madness?
Could never be my Sonic game. It's very nicely done.
Yeah, that was very well done.
Yeah, just a few slight hiccups in the route, but I'm okay with the 31 there.
That's kind of the nice thing about Stardust, especially Act 1, is even if you stray off the path, it's rather easy to get back on it. Act 2 here, he's going to want to go to the bottom here, because unlike other stages, the bottom is actually the more straightforward path, so...
Ah, whoops. I
Yeah,
had
there's
it.
a jump that you can do. Yeah, it's rather tight, so...
Very nice. Almost a double 31.
Almost.
The consistency. What we like to see. And now, Sonic, you mentioned that race that Sonic was preparing for. It is leg day, and it is leg day in Stardust Speedway.
All right, it's time to show off our exercise, what we've done here. So, the thing about this race here is that it's not really a race against Metal Sonic. You're actually racing Robotnik. Metal Sonic just kind of rubber bands around you. So what you just kind of want to do is make sure you're ahead of him by the end of the stage, because Robotnik, he comes in at a fixed speed, so...
I'll say
Yeah,
that might be
a lot-
another topic for debate, whether it's Eggman or Robotnik.
Oh no.
Here we go.
I'm just going to distract from that by saying this song is a real slapper.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Oh no!
We just get to hear more of the song.
Yes, that's exactly what we... That was all part of the plan.
Just as planned.
All part of the plan. It's always good to start off good, getting over those spikes.
Gonna let him do his thing here, and then I'm just gonna try to like lag behind him a little bit, because if I'm ahead of him, then he'll just start doing this dash, and he just goes really fast that way. So I'm just kind of picking my spots here.
Got to proceed at a moderate pace.
Oh wow, well, so much of that.
But,
Oh,
I didn't think this stage would give me so much trouble, but here we are.
It's definitely something that I've had grief with. I will
yeah,
admit.
it can be tricky, especially on like a first time through, because you'd think that you would have to do something very specific to just get as much of a lead. But
How consistent are the strats? Like, are you able to manipulate what Metal Sonic does if you do like similar things every time?
yeah, pretty much. So if you stay behind him, he does the electric attack that you just saw there. If you're in front of him, he does like a kind of a dash. So it's all very much consistent.
Oh gosh, I went. I was trying to peel out.
Oh
and then
no!
Oh no!
turned left.
It's
Dang,
alright,
this stage is
We're here for
some-
the music. Maybe Sonic should have gone a couple more rounds with that boss. Maybe it just wasn't enough leg day for him.
probably not. Let him do his thing. It's just another thing is like the spikes are in the way too.
Hmm.
So it's like trying to avoid those as well, or just try to like bait Metal Sonic to like crash into the spike so it can create a free path for you. But aside from that, yeah, this is like the least, like probably the last stage I would expect to like everything to go wrong.
Hmm. We did mention Sonic CD liking to throw things sort of directly where you don't want them, and very nicely done. There we go.
Hey,
You're
there
out.
we go.
What was that, like 3 times, 4th time or something?
First
It doesn't
try every
matter,
time?
we're out of it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, at least we're out of it. Good.
Oh, a just reward. Well done, Sonic.
No, we got Amy, so I guess that's good.
Okay, Metallic Madness. There isn't really much that needs to be said about this zone in general. There are just a lot of obstacles that you have to manage. Not really so much cycles, because this is one of the few instances where the objects that you have to worry about start operating the moment you scroll the object on screen. But otherwise, it's just a matter of grabbing the speed shoes as Supersonic did just there and just making your way to the end. Nice.
Nicely done. One thing that we'll see in the second zone is a little callback to what we were doing in Collision Chaos in terms of sort of doing a lot of, well, avoiding a load of platforming in the middle of the stage by just running over the top. But we will let that speak for itself.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops.
And Wheels making a return from Sonic 1. One of those
Honestly, I
ordered.
prefer these wheels over the other ones.
Nicely done. So SS is now
Yay,
on top.
nice.
Kid jumps over those platforms. He wants to do that again, so he's going to rev up a spin dash. Ooh, first try. Lovely.
That was good.
And
Oh, wow, 34.
much to Ryokin's disappointment, we are not seeing Chibi Sonic because Super Sonic's just gone straight past it.
I'm
There's
sad.
no need.
Alright, so Metallic 3. Funny thing, there are no bottomless pits in almost all of CD. This is the only stage that has a bottomless pit, and it is something.
Hmm.
As in, it's really easy to fall into, sort
Yeah.
of thing. Or-
Pretty
Super
much.
Sonic's just gone through it with ease. So
Yeah, that
no
was
worries
that was
there.
really good.
The spinning platforms that we came across there earlier. If you put 1 foot wrong, you're out of there. So Super Sonic's now into this section with the fireflies, and now he's onto the final boss.
There is a precise hit you can do to get 2 hits instead of just 1 as he's
Lined
descending.
up.
Yeah, let's see.
Ah, a little late.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's I believe a 3-frame window.
I was expecting to get a hit there. I'm surprised I got the hit there.
Nicely done.
It was like right in between that.
Another good example of good music in this game.
Hope you like opera music. Time is coming up on the final hit, by the way.
We all want to picture that it is Robotnik singing.
Of course.
Of course. Not long now.
And... Time.
Uh-oh.
Right,
I was not
GG.
expecting to hear the instead of time.
And Sonic CD. Enjoy some lovely FMVs.
What was the time on that, by the way?
Get a 26:15 by my timer.
Okay, that's pretty good. I ended up getting like a 1950 in-game time. It's pretty much around the range I've been aiming for. Like anything below 20 minutes in-game time is definitely happy with that.
Nicely done.
But yeah, I wanted to thank everyone for watching. Also, a huge thank you to Hypnotics and Cynic Star for joining me on commentary. Also, thank you, Railcoon, for allowing me to showcase this game. This isn't like really my main speed game for like the Sonic series, but it's really cool to showcase this very obscure game. So, thank you very much, guys.
Do you have any shoutouts before we wrap things up here? Move on to the next game?
Yeah, shout outs to the Sonic community. They've always been helpful no matter which Sonic game we run. I'm mostly like a classic Sonic runner, so there's like a lot of amazing people there. And of course, shout outs to my friends watching in chat, like Ducate, Kelsey, Zen, like just there's too many to name, but you know, shout outs to you guys for coming in and watching this. And yeah, everybody else, like again, thank you very much for having me, and hope you all enjoy the rest of the show.
Be annoying. And where can people find you if they want to see more wonderful content?
Well, if you would like to follow me on Twitch, you can follow me at twitch.tv/supersonic_. I used to have the 71087 at the end, but I recently changed that with the core. On Twitter, I do have the numbers at the end, so it's at supersonic71087. I also have a YouTube channel with the same name, Supersonic 71087. I do have a Discord that you can join. It's in my my Twitch bio, so you can join in and you can find out when I go live and whenever YouTube videos go up and such. And yeah, that's roughly it.
Yeah, and I'm going to suggest that you follow Hypnotics and Sonic Star as well. Thanks as well for doing a great job on commentary. Do you have any final words before we wrap things up?
I think one thing that I'd like to mention is because Supersonic has mentioned that he really adopted the game during the Sonic CD tournament that the Sonic speedrunning community had. The next tournament that we've got coming up is Sonic 3D Blast, which looks like it will be very interesting. I don't know whether that's something that Supersonic is looking into. I think we were gonna maybe bully Cusaron into doing it with the little skit that he had with Argic, the most recent GDQ, but. Yes, if that's something that you're interested in, maybe watching or participating, we welcome anybody in any skill level to come in and give it a go. Then you can find us on SRC in the appropriate Discord link. And yeah, well done, Supersonic.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Supersonic, Hypnotics, and Sonic Star for playing the game and bringing some excellent commentary. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to be swapping over to some games by Cypherin coming up after this. He's going to be playing Spider-Man vs. Kingpin, Atomic Robo-kid, and Shinobi PS2. And then after that, we'll be having Mega Man Rock and Roll by LV Creed. So got quite a lineup of retro games for you all tonight. Stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to play a few ads while we're getting set up. If you're subscribed, you won't see those ads. And of course, we would appreciate if you could consider subscribing to support future hotfix content if you're not. But stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Hello everyone and welcome back to Community Spotlight. We are here with Cypherin, who's going to be playing some games for us coming up. We got just a little Cypherin block for you all to enjoy. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you all are as well. We're starting off with The Amazing Spider-Man vs. Kingpin. Why don't you give us a quick intro to this game if people have never seen this before? What can we expect?
Hey everybody. You can expect a lot of web swinging, a lot of hopefully not dying by the enemies, and some fast movement. We might happen to see a skip that was just discovered within a day or two ago. And quick shout outs to Needleman08 as well as Bacon Omelet. Needleman found the skip, and Bacon Omelet just like with X-Men 2 Clone Wars recently, took the skip and just blew it up. So like this, my current PB in this game is like a 750 something. With the skips, the potential now, it could probably get pushed to maybe like a 5-minute time. Yeah, so it's significant. But yeah, you'll see a lot of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, Venom, Doc Ock, and of course the one and only the Kingpin. Hopefully we get to take him down before he blows up New York here. So yeah, should be a good time.
I think I may have accidentally desynced our voices there at the start. Should be better now.
Okay.
So sorry about that if that caused a little bit of crosstalk on the stream. But is there anything you'd like to cover before we get started, or are we just good to go?
I think we're good to go. I'm going to go into the options here. Usually at the start of the run, I go into the options just to show that what difficulty settings I have it set on, and the options are default. I run this on normal and nightmare, and today we'll be running on normal. So yeah, timer will start when I hit start here on 3, 2, 1, go. Hold start, you can get through the cutscenes and knock out that cop really quick because we don't have time. We got to get going. Kingpin planted a bomb and he framed us. He framed us as saying that we planted the bomb, and we gotta find him and stop it. This skip right here in the beginning of this level is sort of hard. It's a little annoying, but we got it. And now I'm just gonna jump by these enemies here. Jumping is faster than walking. And try to get some web swings in here and there whenever we can. And say hello to Mickey. And then we should be seeing Minnie right there.
Mickey and Minnie.
Yep. Then we got our worker there who was just minding his own business, and we decided to beat him up. That's the one moment in the game where I could probably say Spider-Man is the villain. It's like that guy was just minding his own. But we sort of redeem ourselves by kicking Doc Ock here a few times. And there we go, just 3 hits, and he's out for the count. So Doc Ock, once you take him out, he makes mention of some keys that you can get to help you defuse the bomb that Kingpin planted. And so we got our first key. And right there, that's probably the one viable zip in the game, at least that we found so far. I just mashed the jump button there so that I can zip through and get into that pipe without having to struggle to try to web swing into the pipe. Like here, like just getting in the pipes is a little challenging. This level is like a backwards C, I call it, in that we have to go to the right, swoop down, and then make our way back to the left to, ouch, get to our next villain, aka the Lizard. And we're gonna take a little safe strat here. There's a quick kill you can do on him. I haven't perfected that yet, but we're just gonna blast him with some web balls here. Keep it safe. Say hello to Venom and bye to Venom. In certain boss fights, he'll show up and he'll harass you up until either he takes most of your health or you defeat him, which usually it's him taking most of your health. And then off to this power station here, where we're gonna just try to web swing through and avoid the lightning bolts coming down at us. Oops, I got shot in the back there. It's okay though. And now we have Electro. Electro is probably the scariest boss of the run because if you let him, just let him loose, he shoots really fast and he can take you out really quick. But we got him in a safe lock here and he's done. And so as you see, this run sort of goes by really fast. We're pretty much like halfway through the game already now. So now we're in Central Park. This is where Needleman's skip was found and evolved this ape here. But I'm not going to do it on the ape. We're going to try it in one of the newer areas that Bacon helped discover. So I'm taking the safe strat here, which I call the Sharpie, because if anybody's familiar with the streamer Sharpie, who does a lot of Genesis games, or he recently just beat like the entire Sega library, watching him play this game, he came up with that strat to help him get through the game. Ooh, my health is looking low. I'm going to grab some full health over here for safety. And we have Sandman here, who we pretty much have to lure back to the left of the stage. There was a fire hydrant at the very beginning, and we got to take him there so that we can wash him out. Wash him out, see? Wash him out like that. So he's done. All right, so I'm going to just let this run for a little bit, but I'm going to attempt one of the skips on this next level. And if it's done right, it's going to skip like 2 bosses. But at the same time, I could die because the skip requires that you get your health low enough to where you're about to die. And then basically you have to grab a health item at the same time as to when you are about to die. Oh, yep. So now we're ripe. All right, here it is. Let's see if we get it. I got it. Oh, I didn't get it. They tricked me because okay.
Oh, no.
They tricked me. All right, let's try. We're gonna try it one more time. It doesn't take a lot of time to do it. They tricked me because usually once it happens, you then like bullets and other things can hit you, and like Spider-Man will sort of shrug it off. Whereas here, I got hit by one bullet and was like, oh, I'm okay. And then I got hit by another one. They were like, no, it didn't work. So let's see if we can get it. I think we're ripe now. I'll move over just... Oh, crap. All right. One more time. Let me try it one more time. Okay. So let him shoot us up here. Alright, we need him to go to the left.
He doesn't want to move.
Yeah, he's being uncooperative. Oh my gosh.
Look at him. He's just standing there.
He's like, I know what you're up to.
The game's learning.
It is. Alright. Oh, we didn't get it. I went too early. Alright, so had we got it, yeah, it would skip. Do we want to try it one more time?
I think we could do one more.
Alright, let's do one more.
Do it for the fans.
For the fans. Come on. Okay, that's enough. Okay, we didn't get it. Oh gosh. Bullet. Okay, we didn't get it this time, but it was close. I think I went too early right there as well.
So is that like frame perfect? It has to be like the same frame?
Yeah, it has to be the same frame.
And that like gives you like an invincibility state, or what does it achieve?
Yep, it gives you an invincibility state. The music cuts out, and then you just skip to the next level.
Oh, it just ends the stage?
Yep.
Wow, okay.
So we're skipping it this time, just for the sake of time. Admittedly, I only practiced it. I practiced it one time. I got it that first time. I said, all right, we're good to go. Apparently, I was not good to go.
Same thing happened to me on Saturday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was trying to show off a glitch at the end of the run and it just was not cooperating.
Oh, now Hobby's about to take me out here. Which, by the way, yes, this is Hobgoblin. We're taking a safe, slow strat to take him out.
You called him Javi, and I was really confused because I have a friend named Javier that we all call Javi, and I thought you were calling him like that instead of Javi.
Oh, no. But yeah, we would have skipped that fight as well as that motorcyclist, that biker fight back there, and then it would have taken you straight to Venom if we got the skip. But so now we're going pretty much the normal route for the run here. Which now we have this evil cavern. Let me see where my health is okay. I'm gonna take a few things safe since I already used up a lot of lives back there. Oh, I'm out of web. This web shield is very costly. So we're gonna have to take things a little slower up until I can find some more web. Ouch. And we gotta watch out for crazy turrets here. So okay, we got some web again, got some health too. I'm gonna walk through here, dodge some of these bullets. Ouch. Oh, in the butt. Okay, we're okay. Nice swing through there. And there's a zip that you can do here as well. Needleman has been working on to make consistent. And it looks really neat. I didn't get it right there, but we're gonna take another safety. That's web shield here. Oops, did not mean to fall down there. Whoa, okay. Zip that way to get by that robot that's over there. Grab that web for safety for the next area. And then we got this full health, and now we're at the final level here. Which let me say really quick, if anybody has any sensitivity to light or any epileptic kind of condition, I'm gonna attempt sort of a quick bomb defusal here. If I fail though, it's an immediate game over, and also the screen's gonna do something really wacky. But I'm going to slow it down just a little bit, so just to make sure that we can complete the run here. Uh-oh. I think we are kaput. All right. Chat, what is it? Dark blue or gray? We got to make a choice. Dark blue or gray?
There's a little bit of a delay, so I'll give him a second.
Okay.
Alright, they should be answering here in a moment. Gray, 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 blue, gray, blue, 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 gray, blue, gray, gray, gray. It's pretty split. I think gray is a little bit ahead.
Boy. All right, we're going gray. No, that wasn't it.
Oh no.
And thus how crazy this run can be if you're doing the quick defusal. That's Spider-Man versus Kingpin, everybody. So yeah. What time are we at?
That was 11:48 when we blew up.
I think to keep things moving. If you do want to see the true ending of this, you can watch this when I run it on my own channel or something. Unfortunately, just to keep time going along here, we'll move on to Atomic Robo-kid. If that's all right with you, Railcoon.
Yeah, that's good. And definitely follow Cypher, and they're very comfy streams. It's worth a follow if you're not following already.
Thank you.
We're going to do a quick swap here because it's just a different Genesis cartridge, right?
Yep. Alright, so on to Atomic Robo-kid. Hopefully this game is much kinder. This game has a chance to kill me too. You'll find out that I play a lot of games where your runs can end pretty quickly and brutally. So this game is an early Genesis title, as you can see, is made in 1999. I play it on normal and hard. We're going to play on normal today. And don't be deceived by where it says credits here. It says it's 4, it's actually 3. If you play on hard, it's actually 1, which makes hard really brutal. It's a one-hit kill kind of game, and a timer will start when I click exit here. So 3, 2, 1, go. So you're this little guy, Robo-kid here. And off the bat, we want to grab this F gun. This it's known as like the power-up gun or something. I call it the Cheeto gun because it reminds me of big fat Cheetos. It's a really good gun. This is the gun that you want to take to the end game. So also there's RNG with the weapon pickups here. I'm hoping to get an S. That's a yellow crystal because then it stands for speed and it'll let me race through these levels.
Wow.
It's being uncooperative right now. This is rapid. We'll go with this for now. And then there'll be a chance to get speed later.
Robo-kid's
This
kind
is
of
spread.
adorable.
Take that. What was that? What'd you say?
I said Robo-kid's kind of adorable.
Alright, so continue to make our way through here. Be careful. Again, one hit kill. We got plenty of lives right now though, so we're looking good. Right. I skipped some power-ups I normally grab. Whoa! Alright, we're gonna take these out just to be safe. And then here, I gotta juke this guy and hope he doesn't kill me. And we go for that top door. Alright, so we're gonna try to get our speed power up again, as well as a few additional weapons, such as the 3-way shot here. Come on, be kind. Be kind to me. Don't do this game. Don't you do it.
Oh no.
Oh, you're doing it. Alright, I give up. Where are we going? Alright, we get another chance. Alright, we're gonna grab those because if we collect just, I think 3 or 4 plain yellow gems, it'll give us like a shield that'll come in really handy. If an enemy hits us, the shield will protect us and it'll give us a boost in speed temporarily. Alright, so remember I said the Cheeto gun is amazing? This is why. Coming up right here. Like that. It obliterates all the bosses extremely fast. But coming up, we have probably the worst, I won't say the worst part of speedrun. This is a fantastic game. But in terms of speedrun, these duels are probably the hardest thing in the game. The hardest thing to deal with. Alright, we're good. Especially when you have the speed power up. With the speed power up, if you lose in the duel, you'll lose the speed, and you don't want that.
Oh no.
Yeah. So now we're gonna drop down here. Hopefully not get shot while we're jumping. And continue to make our way through. This guy, we're gonna try to get around him. Hopefully not get shot. Thank you. Now we have this little segment. If we had speed, we could like just blow through this whole entire room here, but because we don't, we sort of just gotta take it easy and juke around the projectiles. And so far, so good. And you all can hear some of that Genesis sound, which admittedly, this is probably my least favorite song in the game. Just because of that part, it tends to blow up my ears. But I love the first stage music, which I think we'll hear again in a little bit here.
It's pretty rocking. Chat wants to know if the Cheeto gun is dangerously cheesy.
What was that?
Chat wants to know if the Cheeto gun is dangerously cheesy.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Very much so. So, all right, now we're at Dragon here. He's like a salesman. We can go ahead, we can get speed, we can get those crystals I talked about. And one thing to note, I don't know if you all noticed as I'm buying stuff here, it's taking away my lives. So as you spend stuff at the shop here, you are using up your lives as currency. So now I have no lives for this run here, but picking up those jewels, those yellow jewels I talked about, actually, well, it actually they sort of count as lives because I would die anyway if I got hit.
Are you able to get more lives as you're going to make that safer?
Yep. So, oh, I just wasted a gem or a jewel. It's okay though. We still got 2 more, but that is essentially a life loss right there. But yeah, we'll get some more lives shortly here. This weapon that I have here is nice because it can destroy projectiles, and there we go. There's our 1-up. All right, I'm hoping to get more yellow gems. Yep. So that one and another one. That works. So I like to run forward just to make the boss move backward, and then yeah, we obliterate him again with the Cheeto gun. And all right, here we go. Now this is crucial because if we die, we lose speed. So we do not want to lose speed here. Yes. Awesome. Game. I noticed something weird was happening in that duel, like the way Robo-kid was flying. I think it just soft locked on me.
Yeah, I hear the sound, but
Well, that's that awesome tune I was telling you all about from the first stage. But yeah, the game froze.
oh no. You
We
want to
could
try again?
Yeah, we can try again.
Maybe make sure the cartridge isn't loose or something.
Yeah, I have some cotton tips over here. So bear with me, people. All right, let's try again. Work. It's like, work, won't you work? All right. All right, here we go. Well, let's do it. All right, going back to normal. And 3, 2, 1, go. Maybe the game is giving me another chance to get speed in the beginning here.
Yeah. Chat was mentioning
Alright.
something like that.
And take out those guys in the back there. Come on. Come on. Alright, well, got the Cheeto gun. Come on. Do it. Do it.
Is it like weighted to be rare, or is the game just being not nice?
Yeah, it's not being nice. Like, but no, it tends to not be nice quite often. But I think what it is I PB'd recently. I brought the world record down by like 4 minutes. And yeah, I think it's paying me back right now.
Yeah,
All right,
game
one more
is
time.
angy.
Yeah, it is. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right, never mind. All right. Nope. All right, I'll take that. Oh, we got an extra life right off the bat there. Oh, okay. All right, cool it, game. Cool it. Okay. Oh man, this guy was nice the last time. All right, we're gonna switch to the missile just so I don't mind losing this. Okay, good. He was extra kind there. All right, just farm a little bit more. Come on, give me that speed. All right, we're not getting it. Not on that one. Alright.
It gave you the R like 4 times in a row. What?
Yep. Alright. We'll have to get speed from Dragon when we see him again. It is nice to get rapid here and there though, because this game is somewhat mash heavy if you don't get the rapid power up. So right there I got rapid and I'm just holding the button now. And again, short work. Alright, and our first duel as well. The duels were good except for that one where I could tell like something was wrong. But, like when I was flying against that robot, you didn't see any fire come from like Robo-kid, like how the fire's here like this.
Yeah.
So I was like, huh, that's not right. It's not right at all. And it's happened to me a number of times before. I sort of took that slow. Falling is faster than flying down if you don't have speed. Whew. Okay. Go through the hallway here again. Whoa. I think on hard, you start to notice the difference between normal and hard on this level because these things shoot all kinds of projectiles at you. And I think there's just more bullets in general on hard.
Because some of these haven't fired any bullets at you, so I assume on hard, like, every single one would be firing at you.
Yep. Oops, I didn't mean to shoot Dragon. You can kill him if you shoot him enough times. Alright. Alright. Full there, and... yeah, we'll go ahead and grab that. Alright, and we're at it again. Go here, grab this. Nice, got a 1-up there. Go ahead, pick up that stuff, and we have our next boss. Ooh, almost slipped up. Alright, be good, duel. Be good. No! Oh, gosh. And there goes speed.
Oh no!
Oh, if only we got that the first time.
Oh wow, that one was really good.
Yeah. I think that's the game making fun of me when it does that. Like, oh, we took speed. We're good now. You can go.
I mean, the game has been very clear about you not wanting you to have speed, so I buy it.
Yep. Alright. There is, I think, another dragon somewhere. I'm trying to remember at the moment. Unless, come on. Come on. Yeah, oh well. Whoop. slow, like, oh, get through. Yeah, sometimes you can get caught on certain enemies. I think you can fly into pretty much most enemies. It's when they shoot a projectile, though, is when they'll take you out. Whoa. Excuse me. This level here is the start of, like, this game has branching paths, and this left path I've at least found it feels faster, so I tend to take this route more than the other one. All right, we got Rapid. Come on. All right. Oh. Alright. So just gonna keep flying down here. This level is pretty straightforward, except when you run across these guys. I don't even feel like dealing with that there. We're just gonna skip it. Ooh, okay. Oh, I forgot to mention there's 18 acts, so we're on Act 11 now. All right, another opportunity for speed. Come on, come on. Ooh, ooh, we stopped that bullet back there. Oh, we got it.
It exists.
It exists.
It's real.
All right, this boss casually is one of the harder bosses. Ooh, wow, he shot at me really fast. Thankfully, we had the shield, but he's one of the harder bosses casually in the game. But we made it. But now we got to get through the duel again and not lose speed. Why, game? Why? Why?
There's such a small pattern. Like, there was barely any way through that. The game just really hates you having speed, apparently.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, come on. Kill what? Would you stop? Quit showing out, game. There we go.
Wow.
Good grief. Alright, Act 13. Alright, if we had speed, this would be really nice through this level. We gotta watch out for homing bullets. Let's see. Come on. Alright, forget it. Woo! Hey, stop it, stop it. You stop it, game. Let me through. Oh, we lost. Alright, we lost another shield. We got one more. We got one more. Alright. We have this level. And then 4 more to go after.
Haven't we seen this level before?
We did. It's a different palette. I think, thankfully though, it's much shorter because they included those enemies. So we're about at the end here. Alright. And now another one of the harder bosses in the game. But with the Cheeto gun, So long as we dodge the homing bullets. We can then take out all the orbs surrounding them. And then light them up from the back. Because his last weak point is that green orb in the front. And I think this is our final duel. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, man. All right. 3 more acts. Okay, let me through. Good, good. These, like that green cube I just killed there, if you're not careful, they can, like, you'll run into them because they just can spawn based on proximity, and they might spawn on top of you. Alright, I think this is final stretch of this room here. So we're gonna go this way. This is another room that splits off. There, you can take the right path, and I think it'll take you through 2 more acts. Whereas this path here will take you to a boss fight, and then it sort of just like skips over Act 17, like the longer Act 17. Oops. Okay, actually, we want to skip him. If I were to buy anything off of him right now, it would put me back at the beginning of the level.
Wait, it would? Really?
Yep. Yeah, it'll take you back to the beginning, so it's not even worth buying. Yeah, it's not even worth buying anything from him right there. Ooh. Okay, I lost my shield. That's unfortunate. But we're on the final full act before we get to the final boss. And yeah, we've seen this level before too. But it's pretty short. We just hold right for a little bit up until we get to... There's like a little secret hole here where you can get an item. And I'm hoping we do get speed. Yes! Alright. A little scary there. Alright. Let that guy go up and fly through. Okay. So, forewarning, this boss can be, if I die here, this could be a really long fight. Try not to though.
Is that just because this takes so much longer without speed?
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Oh, I didn't mean to switch. I did not mean to switch. Okay, and time comes up when the screen fades. Time. That would be time. Oh, I'm thinking I went through all the trouble of this game just so that they gave us that boss fight. Not the best boss fight I've had with that there, but I'll take it. I'll take it tonight. Whew.
Well, thanks for showing those games for us. We've got one more coming up for Cypherin. But it's different console, and we've got someone coming on to help out with commentary as well. So we're gonna take a quick break. Excuse me. We'll get set up for Shinobi for PS2, and we'll have some more Cypherin coming up after this break. So if you've been enjoying our little mini Cypherin block, stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Community Spotlight. We've got more Cypherin here with us, joined as well by Shin Kenso, who's going to be helping out on commentary. We've got Shinobi for PS2, And why don't you give us a quick rundown for this game? If people are not familiar, I know a few people are because they're looking forward to it in chat, but for our friends who haven't seen this game before, what can we expect?
I'll just quickly say, this is a game that I absolutely love, but I think Kensu can speak to it much better than I can. He's the top runner and world record holder of the game, and it's an honor to have him here with me right now. But for the most part, it's it's just a lot of dashing and stuff, dashing, slicing and dicing, and some cool poses. But yeah, Kensu I think can give it a much better explanation than I can.
Okay. First off, thank you, Siphon, for hitting me up to come over here and do commentary. It's always a pleasure, chit-chat and doing stuff with you. So I'm glad to collaborate with you on this. It's also good to be back here on GDQ Hotfix. This is my second time on here since Streets of Rage 4. Now, Shinobi PS2. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people in here that have a lot of nostalgia for Shinobi in general. And I'll just be the first to tell you, in all honesty, this game is absolutely still amazing. It still holds up to the test of time. It's still a beautiful game on the PS2. But this game is extremely hard. Even on normal, this game can really, really test your patience. To be honest with you, I believe Shinobi is still kind of known as one of the hardest, video games you could possibly play, to be honest with you. And if you think it's hard playing it casually, speedrunning it is twice as hard. And Cypher's right, there's going to be a lot of slicing and dicing. This game is very movement heavy. You'll see Cypher dashing around a lot. That's pretty much your primary form of movement. Kind of similar to like Mega Man X. You're going to see a lot of that, dashing around, a lot of, like you said, a lot of cool poses, lots of crazy bosses, lots of crazy quick kills. This game is very, very technical. And the biggest factor in this game is RNG. Like, this game is 100% RNG. There's no two runs will ever look the same. The runners will always do like a lot of the same tech, but sometimes you have to react real time and adjust your strats. So you definitely do have like a baseline, but you have to be ready for whatever, because this game throws it at you at like 90 miles an hour.
Yep, no doubt, for sure.
So yeah, I could go on and on, but you are the star of the show, sir.
Well, I guess I'm ready then. We can dive in.
Yeah, give me a countdown when you're good to go.
Yeah, timer starts on 3, 2, 1, go. And I gotta remind myself to mash through the cutscenes.
Don't forget to mash start.
Mash and start.
All right, so stage 1 of this game, it's a pretty straightforward stage. You pretty much lock it on. And a big thing about this game, when you're doing combat against enemies, is to constantly use your dash. Attack, dash, try to keep yourself moving like at all times, because it pretty much just keeps you away from getting hit, and enemies just kind of can't get a read on you, if you will. Of course, it's AI, and they can hit you whether you like it or not, but the idea is to stay mobile. Like, that's a very, very huge thing in this game. It's really just stay mobile. Now, this is the first Tate section. Basically, when you kill up to 4 enemies, Hatsuma will do a pretty cool pose and kill all the enemies on screen. Now, I'm sure some of you guys in chat are wondering, is that fast? Is this killing multiple enemies at one time fast with the Tate? It is, in fact, faster than trying to kill them individually, because it takes too long for the other enemies to respawn. Now, in situations like these, when you see like 1 or 2 enemies that come out, you don't have to really worry about that, because more often than not, in these sections, you don't really get more than those, that amount of enemies. So if you see 2 in a section, especially in the early stages, you don't really get too many that spawn. And there are a lot of sections like this in which you can kind of just skip past enemies. So here you only have to fight 3 ninjas. That's a pun. That's actually a movie, you guys. You might want to go check that out. It's from the 90s. So here's the first 5-man Tate. Strike a pose. Now Vogue.
Right.
And let's move forward. So there isn't too much to say here. You just slice away, try to make sure you get rid of the tank, because the tank is very problematic. It does do a lot of damage per missile it shoots at you. And after this, should be about 3 more ninjas that pop up. Again, 3 ninjas jokes. You see I'm doing a lot of cross promotion here. We are playing Shinobi. So, alright, now we're going to get to our first boss. And I say boss very, very loosely, because Cypherin's about to make quick work of this boss. All that really has to be done here is what Cypher you just shown.
That's it.
Fire Scroll 1 and Fire Scroll 2. Goodbye, boss.
Goodbye.
So how those fire scrolls work? Like, what just happened there?
So, basically, there are some bosses that just get obliterated by the Fire Scroll, and the Fire Scroll does some of the most damage of anything Hatsuma can actually do outside of a Tate. So, yeah, if in some cases, in some boss fights, you know, once Hatsuma gets behind them, like, their life bar just gets shredded, just with 2 to 3 scrolls. So here, Cypherin picked up a Fire Scroll, or just basically another ninjutsu scroll that's going to be necessary for an upcoming section. This, once again, you know, stage 1, so this is the second section of the first stage, if you will. This is where the game teaches you that you have to hit totems to basically unlock the next section of the stages. So, some stages you need more than one, but you know, they're just kind of teaching you this is how you do it. So here Cypher used the lightning scroll to just dash around and get through all these enemies. There's no reason to fight these guys, you just go straight to the totem. So anytime you get to the second part of a stage, so like stage 1, stage 1, 2, or like the second portion of the stage, if you will, they tend to be totem stages. Like it's pretty much, the game pretty much runs on the formula of enemy stages, you know, kill a bunch of enemies, and then you open up the next section, and stage 2 is normally just get rid of totems. And as I said before, the first 2 stages are pretty straightforward. And like I said before, you see Cypher just dashing around. This is the primary form of movement. Enemies are legitimately trivial. They literally serve like no purpose. Like when you get down to speedrunning this game and start playing totem stages, they're just super easy. At least in the beginning stages.
Right.
At least in the beginning stages. And now we're gonna do the same thing we did to the previous boss against his brother.
Oh.
Alright, now unfortunately Cypherin wasn't behind him. And that's like a big thing about this game is hitting the enemies from behind. And that's where you literally maximize your damage. Hatsuma does have to face a specific way to hit them with the fire scrolls to do maximum damage. So the idea is to dash behind Moritsune, fire scroll, dash again as he's recovering, and fire scroll behind him again, and then that by Moritsune. But you know, you can still do that. The casual way to do this is you pretty much just keep trying to hit Moritsune from behind, and then a bunch of enemies spawn, and then you can do the Tate kill. So you get up to like 7 other goons that come on the screen, and then you just do your best to hit Moritsune from behind. And that's pretty much every boss fight, you know. Save for situations like the helicopter. There's kind of no reason for that. So, and now stage 2. This is, in my opinion, the best song in the OST, or one of 2 songs. I think this is my absolute favorite song in this entire OST.
Same here.
So hopefully you guys in the chat can put up some sour PLFs if you'd like. This one is definitely a banger. All right, now we fight our first Tengu man. So gradually, as this game progresses, you start to see different types of enemies, pretty much like any other, you know, video game out there. But there's kind of a twist to this because, you know, it goes back to the Tate system, right? As you see here, the bigger enemies, if there's no other enemies around them, you know, you have to pretty much fight them normally. But if you have a bunch of enemies that you can, you know, 1-shot or 2-shot, because, you know, as you build up the Tate gauge, as you see the big the circles in the top right, Hatsuma's sword does more damage. And essentially, Cypherin is on a timer. He's actually on the clock, double time, not just with our timer, but also with your life. As you can see, Hatsuma's life gauge here in the bottom left, where the fire scroll is, the red ticks are basically his soul gauge, if you will. And you have to keep feeding the sword, because the biggest thing of the story lore is that the sword Akujiki is a living thing, and you have to feed it by essentially killing your enemies. Which is why all these items and things like that just fly at him. So you get like soul essence and life essence that just comes at you. So the fire around the soul is the health. So they're pretty much separate. And essentially, if you don't do anything, Hatsuma will eventually die, like just outright. You'll slowly start losing flames, which is your HP, and you just kind of pass out. But there is another character in which you can play, which is Mortsune. You can use Hatsuma's brother, and Mortsune actually dies a lot faster. Like his version of the Akujiki, it drains him way faster. So you have to be a lot more tactical when playing Mortsune. The strats don't really change too much, and it's primarily because Mortsune does hit a lot harder than Hatsuma. So that is kind of a big thing, which I'll discuss here, because Cypherin is just tearing it up right now. Cypherin's just being a ninja right now, as you can see. And again, see here, he killed 4 ninjas and then went after the big Tengu, and the Tengu pretty much died in just one shot. So that, as I said before, this is a huge thing in the game. Now, there are other playable characters to Hatsuma. As I mentioned already, Mortsune, his brother, and also Joe. You know him from Shinobi 3. Joe, unfortunately, is the weakest ninja in the game, but he does have access to one thing that neither Hatsuma nor Mortsune have, and that's infinite shuriken. Shurikens are useful when speedrunning and playing casually. It just depends on how you want to play it, because as I said before, like, this game just throws a lot of things at you, so you have to be ready for it. So now we're coming up to a boss fight. This is the brother and sister, and I cannot remember their names, but they do die to fire scrolls. See, look at all the HP. Now Cypherin can pretty much just toss shuriken, and goodbye, boss. Just like that. Well done, well done.
Thank you.
I'm just watching this and I'm impressed that you've been you played 3 very different games for us tonight. Like
Yeah.
a 2D platformer, a 2D like side-scrolling shooter, and a 3D really fast ninja game.
Yeah, it's all all games from my childhood that I loved. So, oops, we don't have to attack them. But yeah, just games that I loved growing up. Playing while growing up. And sorry, I feel like I'm mixing over my words because I'm thinking ahead. Like, okay, I gotta slice these guys up.
Yeah, that is Shinobi. And again, that's a big thing about the game. So what Cypherin's saying is actually correct. As someone who was speedrunning this game very heavily, quite a few years back, no one was really playing this game, and I picked it up and was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a go. And there's a lot of cool tech in the game. It just this game is definitely just like any other speedrun, it definitely is a grind, and there is a lot of tech you have to be ready for. Are there backup strats in this game? There are plenty, but as I said before, it's just a lot of just like reacting and just being ready for things. Once you've kind of like seen a lot of things in the game, as you're learning to speedrun it, things just start to slowly make more sense, and you just kind of prep yourself for like the worst. Because that one, I think you probably need to just jump.
Yeah, it's low. It's like, what the heck?
There you go. Nice. Now, the next level of this game would be for Cypherin to learn how to do Lukma, no hands type, trick shots with the kunai, in order to actually hit those 2 kunai, because there's one in front and one behind. Those are really, really tricky, like, kunai shots, and it takes a lot of practice to get there. Take it from me, I have been to... Me and Akujiki have seen things, I guess it's the biggest way to put it. Me and Akujiki have seen things together.
I'm killing a few just because my soul is starting to drain here.
get him to the last section of the stage. Nice. I just barely missed it. Nice. Good combat.
So was that like a combo cancel? It looks like you were like doing the first hit over and over again.
Yep. That's what you gotta do. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like when you're attacking, you want to make sure you're constantly dashing after each attack because it helps cancel the recovery frames of your animation. And actually, Hatsuma's landing recovery is faster if he actually slashes before hitting the ground.
Really?
If you jump, if you jump in air dash and you don't slash before you hit the ground, or right as you're hitting the ground, you actually land on the ground a little bit slower, or like you recover a little bit slower. And here we go. Dash cancels, dash cancels, dash cancels, dash cancels, dash cancels, dash cancels, and scroll. Boom. Dead. Cypher, your execution's looking really good, sir. Execution's looking really good.
Hey, too kind, way too kind. No, like, yeah, when Ken, like he said, he ran this a few years back. I was there watching and stuff, and I, for one, and again, I grew up with this game, but watching his runs, I was like, oh man, that's so smooth, that's so slick and stuff. And I have quite a list of games under my belt, and just knowing that I wanted to play this, I was like, oh man, it's going to take a lot of time to sit down and get into. But yeah, watching him just sort of sped up that timetable. Like I can't call myself a speedrunner of this just yet, but definitely inspired by Kensu's runs to get into this game, because he, like, it's already a thing of beauty when you see like the Tate kills against the bosses, and knowing that's the casual way of doing it and there's a faster way to do it, it's like, holy cow, man, you know. So yeah, I've been slowly, sneakily trying to get him to come back to run the game, but he's also big into all kinds of stuff. Go ahead, Kensu, tell him what you do.
Well, I'm pretty big in the fighting game community. I am a longtime Guilty Gear player. I've been playing competitive fighting games for a very long time. I had actually gotten into speedrunning, maybe back in 2015. I actually started with Mega Man X2 and Super Castlevania 4. But
yeah, Super Castlevania 4.
Yep, I was around for that. I was around for the Joe D'Amelio and Furious Paul days when they were going back and forth, and then the 2-Cat era. So I've been around, the speedrun community quite a bit. The last game I did speedrun was Streets of Rage 4, which also helped me. It actually led me into helping with the latest patch for the game. I was an official tester for Garcrush Games for that, and had a lot of impact and a lot of great community feedback. So some of you guys may know me from that game. But yeah, I've been around for quite some time. I went to GDQ 2017. Like I said, I've definitely been around the speedrun community. I don't know everyone per se, but I definitely have been around. Definitely been around, lurking in the shadows, and I can't even say lurking in the shadows if I went to GDQ, right? I've been around. But I've definitely, my biggest forte is like speedrunning ninja games. I do hold the world record for Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. It's a game that a lot of people don't. It is the black sheep of Ninja Gaiden games.
I still haven't played that one. That's the one 3D Ninja Gaiden game I haven't played.
Well,
it is definitely worth your time.
You'll appreciate this then, Kenso. I recently picked up, since I'm able to play Game Gear games again, I picked up Ninja Gaiden Game Gear. And, that's a game.
Hey, that game's actually really neat.
It is, like, I expected it to be awful when I was playing it. I was like, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great game. I'm a big fan of just ninja games in general. Like, I'm essentially like the ninja game speedrunner, if you will. I just can't help myself. I just love the games just because they normally offer a lot of speed. And for Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, I do the chapter challenge category. It is a category that I had came up with and showed the community the runs. is still up there. I run it with Kasumi from DOA, and because she's absolutely busted, and she makes very short work of that game. Currently, I've got the world record for that at 1 hour and 58 minutes. That's pretty fast for what Ryu can do normally when playing, a normal game. But as for Shinobi, I spent quite some time on this game, and like Cypher will tell you, he's seen the ups and downs, and him playing the game himself. There's just so much in this game. Like, when you think that you know this game reminds you, hey, dude, no, you actually are still not there. Because as Cypher moves on in this game just progressively it just ramps up, and we're just on stage 3.
It's already ramped up quite a bit, and like you said, we're only on stage 3.
Yeah, because now they've introduced the enemies who block. So the way you get around these guys is you can actually do a kick, which is when you're locked on, you press back and attack, and Hatsube will do a kick, which will guard break them. Or you can dash behind them. I can't stress enough, dashing behind them is very important, but at the same time, you can't disregard, kicking as well, because these guys will dance around you. They will definitely dance around you.
So they're definitely like reading the flow of combat on which one's better at the moment, like where everyone's positioned, sort of thing.
Yes, and that also makes kunai important, because kunai actually freezes the enemies.
Oh. Okay.
So it really helps in pinch situations where you're unsure whether or not you should do a dashing attack or a charge attack. And there's a lot of tech that, for example, I would say right about here, there's some dash attack tech which you can do here. Like, you can get rid of the tank, kunai 1, charge, release, and all the other enemies should fall in line. But RNG, you just never know if they're gonna fall in line. And even if they don't, the recovery from the dash attack for Hatsum is really cool. There's also a pause buffer glitch in which you can do with charges, where if you charge an attack and you quickly tap pause and unpause, Hatsuma's charge actually charges faster for a couple frames.
That I definitely didn't know.
Yeah, there's just so many tricks in this game, dude.
So there's a very important question for you.
Yes, sir?
Are those dogs who've been trained to be ninjas, or ninjas who've been turned into dogs?
Okay. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Those dogs are crucial. They'll teleport around on you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is on normal. Now, when you play on hard and the higher difficulties, those dogs are super difficult to beat.
You're about to see that here.
Now, this boss fight is exactly where it ramps up, and it's primarily because the dogs can block. If it wasn't for the dogs blocking, yeah, this nice short work. It's a very good kill there. Very good kill there.
Thank you.
So what do? You removed like half of his health bar in one go there.
So I built up my power by killing a few of those dogs, and then as I was close enough to him, I took advantage to get in a few slices on him. Used the shuriken or kunai to stun him like Kensu said, and then killed him.
Oh, is that like what Kensu said, where like your sword gets stronger as you build up your tate meter sort of thing? Okay.
Correct. Yep. And that's just it, as I mentioned before, how the kunais freeze enemies. That also is for bosses as well. It depends on which boss it is per se, but since most of the bosses in the game are humanoid, or say humanoid as if we're aliens, right? But since a lot of the bosses are like human, because basically the lore behind the game is it's Hatsuma basically going after his dead comrades. So pretty much everyone that he's going after, every ninja that he's killing, they've probably all crossed paths with Hatsuma at some point before all this crazy chaos. And here we go. Trick shot. Almost. Got it. Nice. So yeah, having the ability to just hit enemies and go for that type of kill and or do that much damage, it's very, very important in this game. very important to getting rid of bosses.
Oh. No, get out the way. I'm stuck in the web. Oh, man. Let me try to go back. There we go. He was automatically locking on there.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's one of the things that's kind of tough is like when you're close to an enemy and you're going to chunk a kunai. Unfortunately, Hatsuma actually just auto-targets the closest thing to him. So it makes for kind of a difficult time when you get caught up in situations like this. Luckily for Cypher, he won't have to deal with this too much more after this stage.
Get out. Go ahead, take them out. Just to play it safe.
Oh yeah, definitely. Get your soul gauge back up, get some HP. Strike a pose. Alright, now back to it.
Don't underestimate the importance of striking a pose.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes you just have to vote. I'm going to dash past these enemies. There is a scroll down here in which that we need to take care of this boss. Hit the totem. Okay, another totem here. And another scroll below that we need to grab. Boom. Alright, now we're on our way to the boss. Now, this boss fight's kind of tricky. It does require the energy sword, if you will, or the windmill sword attack. It does a lot of damage, but it's a tricky fight. Alright, so now we activate our ninjutsu. Alright. What we do is we basically burn all of our scrolls here to attack the spider boss. As you can see, chunks and chunks of damage just coming off. Alright, got one more scroll. Alright, go for some more. Alright, now Cypher just has to pretty much wait for the next set of enemies to come. And he can just tate. Boom. And that's the boss fight. Well done.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, had Cypher taken any longer with that, or if you come in there with like less scrolls, that boss fight gets way harder. Because those spiders, they will make your time in that boss fight very uncomfortable, very unpleasant.
And then he was also... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you got it.
I would say he was also low to the ground too. Doesn't he go higher as well?
Mm-hmm. He will definitely climb up a little bit higher. And he just makes it just not fun. Now, stage 4 is pretty lax. This is a very relaxing stage. This is probably like the one part in the run where you can kind of like calm down a little bit, because it's just more of you just pretty much just moving from point A to point B to try to unlock stuff on, at least for 1. Remember, we're just following the same game flow of killing enemies. It opens up the next path, and we just kind of follow along. And they just throw everything at you now. So they're like, okay, we know that you've dealt with tanks. We know that you've dealt with the flying enemies. You've dealt with the the enemies that block. So let's just throw everything at you all at once. Let's see how you do. And nice use of that kunai. See, exactly what I mean. Sometimes you don't want to jump all the way up there because it does take time and training for you to go up there and then fall back down or to keep moving. So it's really good on Cypher in there to recognize that, hey, I'm gonna throw kunai, bring him straight to the ground, boom, hit him, and we're out of there. Nice. And I'm sure some of you guys in chat maybe have played this a long time ago when it first came out on the PS2, as I did, or probably Cypher. And I'm sure this game has definitely put you guys through the ringer. I would not be surprised. Yeah. I would say my first playthrough of this game, like way back when it first came out, I would say like it took me maybe a good week or so to beat the final boss.
Oh wow.
It was really that tough, and it's primarily because like Shinobi, like it's a game that teaches you to do things, but it's so subtle. At like, hey, you should probably do this. So like basically the last boss is like a testament of like everything that you know about the game, and they kind of there's some little tidbits in there that they're like, hey, there's hints of every boss in the very last boss. So there's like just this certain amount of detail you have to pay attention to. So
Yeah, just to reinforce that, there's been quite a few people in chat like talking about it. Like, I played this game. This game's really hard, just through this entire run. So
yeah, I'll trust. Like, and speedrunning it is definitely. If I'm to be totally honest with you guys from chat and just 100% honest, I do believe wholeheartedly that this is probably one of the more difficult speedrun games you could possibly pick up. But I could tell you for certain, it feels very rewarding when you do everything right. Like, when everything falls into place, when all your tates are on point, you know, when your execution's on point, you're hardly taking damage, you know, just everything just works. It is a good feeling. It definitely feels like you've conquered the game, especially with the amount of stuff that it throws at you.
Yeah, usually for most of my games, I'm like, yeah, like anybody can pick this up. This one, I'm like, give it a try, you know. I mean, it's a fun game, but it is hard. It is extremely hard.
Yeah, this is just normal. Like, yeah, I really don't know what else to say on it. I'm just thinking about it now. I'm just like, man, like, and you know, the thing is, I wouldn't discourage anyone from picking it up just because of the difficulty factor. I mean, there's tons of games that have lots of RNG that are very difficult. So why not play one that, you know, lets you look cool when you're doing your thing, and you get to be I mean, you're a cool, you know, futuristic ninja. I mean, what's there not to like?
yeah, my take on hard games is usually like anybody can do it. It just depends on how much time you want to put in.
Oh, absolutely.
And so like a game like this seems like it's just going to take more time to get to that level of competence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I would say like this game is kind of akin to like, this is my ninja game speaking here, like Ninja Gaiden 3. USA, not Japan. That game is just all kinds of brutal. Okay,
the NES title, right?
Yeah. So this boss fight's kind of wonky too. It can be difficult because this boss, he teleports around a lot. So pretty much what Cypher's gonna do is switch to the wind sword again, and you can stun lock him with that. So the rhythm is, you know, you activate the wind sword, attack, kunai, attack, kunai, attack, kunai, attack, kunai, attack, kunai, and that pretty much will shred him. But this is the part that makes it hard. If you catch him early on, you will never have to deal with these enemies that come in here that spawn, because these guys, they just literally just throw things at you, and it can ruin the rhythm. Oop.
Oh, okay.
So now, despite these guys being here, Cypher does have the option to Tate here as well. He can still build up more damage for the sword by trying to take these guys out and trying to go for the one hit. Boom, there we go. Nice. So you do kind of sort of have some backup options for bosses, which is the Tate, but it just depends on the boss fight, because some boss fights some boss fights can be very difficult and don't really give you that luxury. Luckily, this boss here was definitely one that will let you get that.
I like the cutscene for the Tate attack while you're on fire because you fell in the lava there for a moment.
Okay, so 4B. This is actually reset territory if you are trying to get, you know, a good time. You have the option here to activate the lightning scroll, which makes you move faster and pretty much lets you cut past this section right here and just go straight to the boss. It's not uncommon for people to reset here. It's not uncommon for people to mess this up. It's just normal. So Sai, don't feel bad if you have to hit restart, because you do need that other scroll for the boss fight.
Oh dang. Okay, let's try it.
Yeah, this like, and this has happened to me plenty of times, and I still PB'd off of this. The reload doesn't take too long, which is totally okay. The goal is to like, because the stage is twice as long as you're restarting, so it's actually okay to restart here.
Yeah, that's pretty fast restart.
Yeah. So yeah, your goal is you want to still hold on to a scroll to be able to use against the boss. Oh, just barely. So yeah,
And of
chat,
course
no
you
worries.
got it on the one where you use the scroll that you need for the boss.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. You can fight the boss without it, but the boss fight's going to be exponentially longer. So it's either you take the hit trying to run the stage, or you take the hit trying to get across and have somewhat of a shorter boss fight. And it does. Then this is what I mean about having like the execution, because there is like some camera tricks here. Sai got it on the previous jump, but just slightly. Oh, almost.
Oh, that was so close. Did the category not update? I can update that.
Right. So I believe.
We got this. We got this. I keep losing my double jump.
No worries, no worries. Take your time. Got another shot at it. This the thing that makes this difficult is there is an edge in which side does have to kind of clear properly, and it does require you to kind of set your camera like right to make sure you're like close to that. You like you're in line with that edge, and you're pretty much right there, side. Yeah. All right, we made it. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah.
First
there we
try.
go.
First try. Woo!
First time try every time.
Every time.
There we go. So yeah, you guys, this stage is really, really long. This is probably one of the longest stages in the game, actually. And the fact that this skip exists, it just makes life so much easier for this stage. One more back that way. Nice. Hey, you guys, first try. It is amazing how those guys spawn sometimes. It's very befuddling. It's like, wait, you spawned right here. Sometimes I've had the ninjas spawn behind there, and I'm like, why are you there? You should be in front. Alright, so this is our Firefly lady. She is definitely an annoying boss. Now, Sai's gonna ride the walls and try to just keep single hitting the boss. This is because you want to just add the DPS on her. You don't really focus too hard on trying to hit her multiple times, because she's just going to teleport each time and like explode on you. So you basically just run from side to side, hit her, and just keep trying to maximize your damage. And you can use your fire scroll whenever you want, just to like kind of increase your damage before the tate. So you can feel free to use that anytime you want. Because the idea is to do as much damage as you can, because she's not going to allow you to do like multiple scrolls. And as you can see, the fire scroll didn't even do, it did a lot of damage, but not as much as you guys saw from the previous boss, right? But roughly, it should be coming up pretty soon. She's going to spawn enemies, and the goal here is to actually tate. If you're wondering, is this the quick kill? Yes, this is absolutely the quick kill. Currently, as far as I know, there isn't any other strat that's faster. There might be, but to my knowledge, this is pretty much what you would go for. Alright, here we go. Now you have to survive the onslaught of the bugs, you know.
Oh no!
Oh, just so close.
So close.
Yep. Welcome to Shinobi PS2, friends. This is the hard part. Now, missing that does basically waste a lot of time, because now she has to go through that whole sequence again and like blow up that middle platform, and you have to wait for the bugs to respawn. And yeah, this pit section, it's just a nightmare. like doing this on the first try is very important. Of course, if you're learning, it's okay. So let's try to get those little bugs there. Good damage, good damage. We take those. All right, got soul gauge. All right, now we got another chance. So basically, having a long boss fight is basically the equivalent to running the stage. That's why it's okay for you to reset that stage to be able to clear that jump. It's totally okay. Because the stage, in terms of finding all the totems and stuff like that, it is just not fun.
Yeah.
Like casually, the stage is probably one of the more annoying ones.
Oops, forgot to skip cutscene. Yeah, and just as you saw me falling in the lava there and going through the stage, you'll probably fall in the lava like all over the place.
Okay, so this stage actually tests your platforming skills. This is, in my honest opinion, probably one of the harder stages to run properly. This is the stage, Sai, I'm just gonna be honest with you, take it slow, because this stage is definitely a killer one.
Yep, I get it. Whew.
Yeah, so normally this stage is just a lot of trick shots for totems.
Did I get it? Okay, yep.
So
I
you really
haven't built
don't.
up that confidence yet. The no-look shots like you do.
It's tough. It's tough. So pretty much this whole stage, you're just scaling walls. You want to make sure you can't go in the water per se, but there are portions of the stage that do have water. Funnily enough, at some times and some points, for whatever reason, you can actually drown. Hatsumu will actually drown if you are not, for whatever reason, like the game has like a specific height for Hatsumu to be. So if his feet are in the water to a certain depth, you will just randomly die. It happens only so often, but just something to note for you guys.
So it's not that like falling in water is death, but falling too deep in the water is death?
It's like you can go up, the water will go up to your ankles and you'll die.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like legit. It is weird, and the water just has like a weird pattern. It normally just goes up and down, but like sometimes the water will just rise a lot higher than normal, like right now.
Like right there, falling in there. Ooh. Okay.
Sigh. Whew.
Yeah.
Scary stuff. So yeah, pretty much this stage just really tests your ability to, platform. Or should I say 3D platform? Nice. Good shot, good shot.
No, I didn't mean to do that. Okay,
They
we're
both
okay.
count as platforming.
Alright. Whew, we made it. Alright, luckily now, Sai doesn't have to do anything but boss fight anymore. So there's going to be 2 boss fights back to back here. So for this boss fight, we're going to go for the wind sword again. And you're pretty much going to go for slash kunai until dead. Okay, reactivate.
Oh. Oh, I ran out of kunai. Okay, there we go.
Alright, good deal. Easy boss fight, easy life. So, I'm just going to be that guy right here and tell you guys this is probably one of the most annoying bosses in this entire game. The quick kill for this boss fight is of like Ninja Gaiden 2 proportions. Like Ashtar tier type boss fight. So this boss here, it is just the most random. you don't do that much damage at all. And like this boss teleports around all day long, and your goal is to just trying to pretty much hit the boss each time until this boss spawns snakes. Now, the quick kill for this is very, very, very tricky. It's very, spacing specific, and it requires a charge attack, but it has to be at the right spacing. If I recall right, it's after, I think it's 4 or 5 hits, the boss will spawn in the center, and you have to line up right. It should be here, yeah. So these snakes have paper thin hitboxes. Like, whoever programmed this game, I don't know what they were thinking, but legitimately, those snakes, they have the most paper thin hitbox of any enemy in the game, other than the last boss is paper totems. So what you're supposed to for the quick kill, you get to the point to where the boss spawns like this, and there's a specific spacing that you stand, and when all the snakes spawn, what you're supposed to do is have a charge attack ready, and you have to release on point, and you will kill all the snakes all at once, and then you can just one hit the boss just like that. Trying to do it normally with your sword attacks, it's difficult because Hatsuma's sword in itself, like the hitbox on the sword itself, is pretty paper thin too. So this is by far in my opinion, it's probably top 3 difficult quick kills in the whole game. The other alternative you can do for this, the other alternative strat you can do is use Lightning Scroll to dash around faster so you can cancel your animations like a lot quicker and keep up with the snakes the best that you can, and just try to do as much damage, because you're only allowed 1 sword attack on this boss at any given point in time. You're never allowed any more than 1. So
I'm taking it extra safe here.
Yeah, I don't blame you. The boss fight can get really tough strictly because the snakes are just so hard to hit, and like they can actually just gang up on you all at once. Like, especially if you get hit by that ice beam, like you'll get froze, you get knocked back, you can randomly get knocked off the stage, you get hit, and then the snakes just double back and hit you again. It's very, very difficult without the quick kill. I would say, to be totally honest with you guys, I think getting this quick kill down took me at least a good month, because the spacing is very important for it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you had it, you just released a little too soon.
Oh.
You were definitely on point with it. Nice damage, good stuff. That was a good recovery there.
Thanks. Yeah, that boss is a jerk.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, that boss has ruined so many PBs for me. So many PBs.
So would you say that boss is like the second hardest boss in the game?
For quick kill purposes, top 3.
Top 3.
I would say after that is the boss for 6B, which is the giant head.
Oh, yep.
Now, I want to point out once again, remember I said this OST is a banger? This is by far, leaps and bounds, in my opinion, the second best track in this entire game. I would say in speedrun practice, this is my favorite stage to practice for speedrunning.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's probably, in my opinion, the most technical stage to run, because there's a lot of no-look shots. There's a lot of knowing where to drop, knowing where you need to be, knowing which enemies you need to hit, and gosh, I really can't stress it enough. Like, it's really fun. Like this section that Siphon's on here, like you can do that with turning your camera, and all the totems are in one spot, so you can just fall and just slice, and just straight down, and just get to that, get to the next section really, really quickly. But a lot of it, this is before, a lot of practice, a lot of trusting yourself, a lot of like positioning your camera correctly. But that's another big thing about Shinobi. Like, your camera position really does matter. Ooh, close. I want to say there's a scroll there.
Ooh, back there. Oh wait, it's in this other room coming up.
Okay, okay.
with the big guy. Because I stopped like, wait a minute, I gotta get that. I think it's coming up. Is this the room? Yeah, it's this room.
Okay, okay, yeah. You're right, you're right. I get it confused. See, there we go. Yeah, we do need scrolls for this boss fight coming up. Really clean movement here. Yeah, just this stage is just a really big testament to your movement.
Oh gosh. So yeah, they can hit you with their own kunai and stun lock you, which almost happened. I almost died there.
Nice, looking good.
Oh, I always forget about this one. This room, I haven't got this room down yet. Like I tend to always forget a total.
This room is trick shots. Room. Nice. Nice. All right. So now what Cypher's gonna do here for this boss fight is another easy boss fight. So at the boss start, we're just gonna dash behind him, fire scroll, dash behind him again, fire scroll, 3 fire scrolls. Short work at this boss. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, dash, dash, dash. Get behind him. And boom. Dash, dash, dash.
Is he beneath me? Oh, he's taking his sweet time.
Nice. Now one more.
Oh, you survived. Crap.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. Remember, that's the thing about the fire scroll. You have to be like pretty much dead on. Like you just have to be facing the right direction and make sure that like the heart of the fire scroll just hits properly. It's kind of awkward that the fire scroll kind of does that.
Oh, I know you said being behind was important, but does like distance matter as well?
Yes and no. It's like I said, this game shows you different things all the time. Sometimes you'll be in the right spot and you'll fire scroll and you're like, where did my damage go?
Yep.
I'm so serious. I'm so serious.
And other times you like completely nuke them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever get the ones where you're convinced you didn't get the good spot and then it gives it to you anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think from playing the game so much, I'm at the point now where I'm just like, I have faith that this will kill.
Okay.
I just always believe. So this boss fight is probably one of the more, I believe he's one of the top 3 more annoying bosses of the game, primarily because of how this boss fight works. You have these, you have one big platform, you have one railway to go up, and you have to pretty much power up your sword to try to kill this boss. So yeah, your goal is to try to wait for all the, the enemies to come up, try to do as much damage as you can. You can one-shot him. This boss actually has several different ways to quick kill. Some of the ones that you may see are from like there's some individual level runs where you'll see some pretty cool tech. I haven't implemented those yet because some of them require you to like take a death and you end up getting 2 scrolls from taking a death. So there is like some weird tech with that. But in general, the easiest way to go about it is kind of sort of, I guess, the casual route, which is do your best to hit all the enemies. Boom. You can get one more. Boom. Nice. Well done.
Yeah, Michael Yama was in chat earlier. Don't know if he's still hanging around. Was mentioning some of the really cool IL stuff when we were getting started.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of the individual level stuff is actually more... There's a lot more tricky things you can do with it because you can start the game off with an extra scroll that you normally wouldn't. And you can just blaze through stages a lot quicker because you can use like lightning scroll to just dash around things that you don't need to be worried about. So 7A, this is a a lot more lax stage up until the boss fights. We're just going to be dashing around and just skipping through a lot of enemies because we don't have to fight them. But do keep in mind, you know, as I mentioned before, stages do ramp up. So this is another stage that kind of pushes both a lot of your platforming abilities and your, you know, your combat, because there's going to be a lot of things where you look at, you're like, oh, I think I can make that jump, or okay, if I do this, and it's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why did I die?
What have I done? Yeah, I do that a lot. I do that a lot.
All right, now size, like I said, man, you guys have to give it up to Cypher, because literally the execution right now that he's pulling off is not easy, and he's getting through in pretty solid time here. Now this guy here, we can just knock him off because he's just useless. He's just fodder. He just came to show you how cool his spear was. So we're just gonna make short work of these Kunoichi here. Good into the kunai. As you saw, he had to throw 2 kunai and make sure that he can get that Kunoichi, because he threw one. Like, oh wait a minute, you're still moving. So again, reactions. I think that's one of my favorite parts of playing a lot of the speedrunning the ninja games. Is a lot of the ninja games do require a lot of good, at least the 3D ones in particular. They definitely require a lot of reactions and just really good knowledge of the game. All right, so
I hate that jump. I hate that jump so much.
It's a tricky one. All right, let's see if Cypher can get the Tate here. Nice. Oh, he blocked it. He's like, sorry, guy. I'm not your friend, pal.
He does not want to go down.
Nope. So this is a section where, like, if you miss the Tate, like, these guys, they definitely become like sponges. They just take damage. So you definitely want to do your best if you're learning this game to try to get the Tate best you can. So I believe this should be Agiha.
Mm-hmm.
So Agiha's pretty easy boss. It's just attack into kunai, attack kunai, attack kunai. It's pretty much that rhythm. Because if you don't stun lock her, Agiha becomes really annoying. And the enemies that she spawns are like super annoying. Right,
I'm assuming we saw a taste of it there with how she started dashing away.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. You can use the wind sword as well for this boss fight.
Ooh, okay.
Jeez. Well done.
Thank you.
So there's maybe like 2 or 3 bosses in the game you can do that to, where you just unlock them and then they're pretty much free. She's one of them, and the enemies that she spawns, you know, going back to having paper thin enemies to attack. And as I said before, Hatsuma's sword being paper thin too just doesn't help the situation. So yeah, now comes another fight with your brother Moritsune. So this boss fight, it can be tricky because Moritsune's movements can be difficult to track. So this is a boss fight that pretty much requires you to just kind of literally you have to move around. Because I believe after 3 attacks or so, Moritsune kind of starts dashing around you, so you have to counter him. That's pretty much the pattern. But just be forewarned, you know, guys, like, even though it's 3, he can definitely do more than just get behind you. The goal is to try to beat him as best as you can without allowing him to do any other extra attacks. Alright, see if Saki can get some big damage here. There goes the kunai. Okay, cool. You're good. you thought you weren't dashing enough in this game, Moritsune reminds you, hey, remember that dash button? Take advantage of it. Okay, good damage. Also in this boss fight, you cannot use kunai. He will deflect and he will just throw stuff at you. And it's not a good time. You can also use Fire Scroll here as well to do some big damage.
Does he deflect them back at you, or just like cancel them out?
Both.
Oh, okay.
And so he'll deflect and they'll just come back at you. And as you saw, like how much damage Siphon took for just getting stunned. Oof. So remember what I told you guys? How even though you're hitting him from behind and he will dash behind you, he will use his geyser attack, which is very difficult to predict. So you definitely want to do your best, you know. Again, back to reactions. We're all back to reactions here.
I guess this is the point where if anybody thought you were like exaggerating about the game ramping up in difficulty, this is where we see it.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. And I guess to kind of further emphasize the notion of attacking enemies from behind, that's where you do the most damage. So for any of you guys that see how much damage the Fire Scroll did when he was behind. Whew. So think of it as Final Fantasy Tactics. You know, you want to have the highest chance, you know, to have a very high hit rate and damage. Oh, stunned. Okay, we're out of there. Nice. Good movement, good movement. Okay, good movement. Okay, dish out some big damage here. It's a pretty good trade. Nice. Okay, there we go. There we go. Hey, Sai, to be fair, you made it this far without a death. That's really good for this game. That's really good for this game.
I didn't even realize that. Usually, yeah, I would have died a long time ago. All right, let's hold on to that, especially for the final boss, if we make it there.
Oh no, we're gonna make it there, Sai. Don't you worry. We're gonna make it. So I'm just gonna be honest with you, chat. This stage is just absolutely abysmal. Like there is no. I can't tell you how many times on my hands and feet, Siphon's hands and feet, the amount of people in chat's hands and feet, maybe even your kids' hands and feet, I have just been so flustered at this stage because the platforming required on this stage does not allow you to be sloppy whatsoever. Like, if you're sloppy, even with just your camera, like this jump here is very scary that Siphon's doing. It may not seem like it, but you do need to get up there high enough to get to this portion here so you don't have to go through the middle and fight extra enemies. Okay, now we gotta get a trick shot. Oh no, my bad. That's actually coming up. We're not there yet. Haha, forgot. So this section here, it is pretty easy, but if you decide to take your time, those enemies throwing fire at you are not going to be kind whatsoever. Okay, so this is the section I believe where we gotta get that lovely trick shot. Is it? No. I am ahead of you, Siphon. I am so sorry.
No worries.
I guess it's just because I'm just so used to like just being so fast at this game.
I was gonna say you would have been through here by now. Oops.
Okay. So we gotta get a trick shot here.
Ooh, I forgot about this one. Come on.
Okay. Nice. That's 3, and I believe we have one more. And we just jump on the wall, and we just toss that one, and then we should be good to go. Nice. Well done. I believe. Okay. There we go.
Oops, I did not mean to summon them.
So this is the section I was getting ahead of myself on, chat. This is the section that has a lot of totems, and there are enemies that do spawn. And this trick shot here should be good. Okay, nice. So now we're at the right section. Alright. Now, still pretty straightforward here. Cypher is going at a really good pace here right now.
Oh, nope, didn't trust it.
I do not blame you. Alright. Siphon does have to get on the other side. Made it. Now, I don't want to say anything, Sai, because I know how difficult that jump is. But chat, for you guys to know, that is a big thing in this stage in particular, that if you die off that jump, you have to do this from the beginning. This stage doesn't really have checkpoints like that. It's, oh, you died? See you at the beginning. Kind of like Ninja Gaiden with that 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no, 6-2. Oh no, it is, well, stage 6. I mean, you die, you get to the end, you know, you fight the boss, and it's like, oh, you died. Well, we'll see you at the beginning of the stage. See you when you get back here.
Right.
And Sai's doing really, really well here, so you guys definitely give it up to him here in the chat, because this, as I said before, this game is tough. So a big thing here on this stage, in particular, since we're back on totems, we don't want to go into those rooms. We want to make sure we toss kunai at them so we hit the totems, so we don't spawn extra enemies that we don't want to fight. Alright, nice. I like that extra insurance with the kunai to make sure you get a kill.
Yo.
I don't blame you. Okay. Nice.
God.
Good deal. Get the next one. Nice. Then there's one in front of us. Spawning our enemies here. So as I said before, game definitely ramps up in difficulty, and this stage is just, you better know how to play this game. That's literally what Sega was saying. Like when they made stage 8, they were like, okay, let's really put them to the test and see if they actually know how to play the game. Has the player been paying attention the whole time they've been playing? Okay.
Stage 8 is your exams, basically.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I would say the equivalent to the stage, in all honesty, is probably stage 8 of CV4 with Vegas Bridge. Like, it's just a brutal stage that will just send you, like, on a path of why. You're just constantly questioning, why did they force you to do this? Why did they make this a thing? Alright.
Get out. Oh, I'm missing one.
Alright. There's one behind you.
Oh. Alright. Let's go ahead and take these guys out. Just got a little carried away here. Whoop.
So this is a really good decision here from Sai to just trying to clear the room, because it is tricky to make these shots. And, you know, ironically enough, you're probably wondering, but they're just straight shots. It can't be that hard. Well, the PS2 DualShock controllers are not always going to be the best when it comes to just straight-on accuracy. So you do have to keep it in line, and again, it is a big part of controlling your camera as well, because, you know, back in these days, you know, these PS2 action games, you know, you always hear the, you know, the meme PS2 action game cameras. So that's a big thing here. Okay. Really, really brisk pace here. Nice double jump kunai. Cleared it. Alright, now we're on our way. Okay, we got a couple more guys to get rid of. Just barely missed the Tate, no big deal. Just take them out. Still get the damage boost that you get from taking out one enemy. Nice. Okay, one more. Good kunais. Nice. Alright, now this section, you just don't have to deal with it. This is a very, very dangerous section, actually, just playing casually. Because they legitimately throw all kinds of enemies at you in this section. And a lot of them are very, like, they're heavy enemies. This section right here has definitely ruined a lot of my PBs. Because these enemies, at this point, as I mentioned before, as the game moves on, enemies just tend to be sponges. So one of the biggest things is to try to kill some of the airborne enemies since they don't take too much, you know, too many hits to kill. And you want to try to build up your Tate gauge best you can so you don't have to deal with those guys. And Cypher made short work of them, and we are well on our way. Also, Chad, don't be surprised with silence. This is definitely a game you have to concentrate on. Because it's just, like I said, even just fighting just basic ninjas, sometimes it's like, things should be going a certain way, you know, from like your previous run or the things that you practice, and it just goes just straight RE, and you have to be like just ready to react and just readjust. And Cypher's readjusting really, really well here.
Am I going the wrong way? Feels like I'm going the wrong way. Yep. Turn it. You gotta turn it around.
It happens. It happens. So we're pretty much coming up on the last platforming section. Yeah, pretty close there. Once we get rid of these guys here. Alright, so this is pretty much the last platforming section before the last boss. This is a section that really requires you to turn your camera a lot because you need to be able to see where you're going. And of course, as you improve at the game and you learn the run, you know, you won't have to turn it nearly as much. Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, that was very scary.
Also, by the way, friends, these are bottomless pits. There are no other platforms if you fall directly in between the platforms. Oof. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna let you get through it before we talk about it.
I could hear the experience in your words there. Like, there was a man who's fallen down those pits before in a good run speaking.
Oh, I've had so many PBs die to that. Unfortunately, the flying demon hit the ground and kind of messed up Sai's damage output here. But it's alright, he still has one enemy here. He's got lots of kunai he can work with. Alright. And we're off. This is the final boss of the game. Let's just say that this guy is the run killer. He is probably the biggest run killer in the game. You can have the best run, and this boss will just absolutely make you tear your hair out. So it starts off light. There isn't any actual life bar. And this is part of what I mean about this boss fight. Already, he tried to troll Cypher to go out there and swing on an invincible hit, because whenever he does an attack on the outside, he is invincible.
Oh, he did it again.
Yep.
Oh, he's being evil.
Yeah, arguably speaking, the last part of the estimate is because of this boss. Even if I was to run this myself, I would probably be very safe, just like Typhon, because this boss fight is just not. I'll put it to you like this, chat. If you die on this boss fight, it gets exponentially harder. Exponentially harder because you don't have scrolls.
Oh.
It's primarily because when you die and you respawn, you only come back one scroll, and you have to do the entire sequence over from the beginning, from the top. So part of the boss fight is to actually wait for these paper talisman to come up in order to get like big damage on them. And part of what makes this difficult is that these guys are very, very difficult to hit.
Yeah, I saw a few sword slashes like go through it and not hit there.
Mm-hmm. All right. And now he's gone. Trolled. This is this boss. So there are a couple things that can be done here to that Typhon can do to increase his damage output, which is to just use fire scrolls to dish out damage. The other alternative is to use 2 fire scrolls and sit on the lightning scrolls so that you're able to dash around a lot quicker, so that you can actually catch the boss and try to one-hit kill him. Or you can just use 1 fire scroll and just sit tight on the lightning scrolls, or just sit tight on all 3 scrolls for lightning and just try your best to pretty much go after all the paper talisman and just hope and pray you hit the boss as fast as you can.
What blocked you?
What?
Yep. So the trick is you have to kick and then dash behind, because then he's stunned. And then you can actually land a hit. But this is the hardest part of this speedrun, hands down. And this is the hardest thing to do overall while playing casually.
Yeah, it's amazing just looking at this, and we've taken off maybe 10% of his health.
Yep. So part of the reason why it took me like a week to beat the boss is because I'm a very like methodical person. So I was trying to figure out as much, and this is before I was speedrunning it or anything like that, right? I just wanted to think like, maybe there's something I'm doing wrong. Maybe I can just play the long game and like, essentially like the way they built this boss, he's there for the long haul. He's there to wear you out. And that's pretty much what he does. He definitely wears you down.
It seems like it's designed that if you were kind of whittling away bosses before, it's not going to work on this guy. You gotta play the game they want you to play with building your Tate meter.
Pretty much. And, you know, I can't stress it enough. Dying on this boss fight is just... It's very crushing. It's very, very, very crushing. Which is why I say this is definitely one of the harder speed games you could pick up. Just because of, you know, this boss fight can just ruin your whole PB.
He keeps doing that. Like, you get the last enemy and then he just teleports way off in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. So part of what can be done here is so I can take out a couple of the talisman, activate lightning scroll, and then do his best to go after them as quickly as he can, because the lightning scroll is fast enough to, you know, dashes just recover a lot faster. Or we can take the that methodical approach there, where we try to just get as many talismans as we can and try to dish out as much damage as we can. Most of his attacks are pretty easy to dodge. It's just the talisman attacking you on top of his attacks is just it's definitely difficult. Personal best, it can ruin a whole PB. Basically your personal best time. Maybe it sounded like I said PP when I meant to say PB, like peanut butter.
Yeah. There's also different terms for it, like people who are around weightlifters, they like to say PR as a PB for personal record.
Okay.
I've heard a few speedrunners use PR instead of PB as well. So it's just, you know, whatever you're comfortable with.
Gotcha.
Oh.
So the other thing that makes this boss fight difficult is that there's a lot of decision making that has to be made, right? So the talisman actually give up health and they give up soul gauge. So you kind of can't wait too long, but you don't want to rush it either, because you know he might just dash around or he'll just teleport away from you.
It seems like the strat Scyther's going for is just working, not going for the full Tate, just charging up as much as he can, get a hit on the boss. It takes a chunk off, you know.
Yeah, this is the absolute safest thing you can do. It is a longer way to beat the boss, but it is definitely like, it's safe. It's definitely safe. The other quick kill strat, that is, if you miss it, well, reset.
Yeah.
Alright, can we get in here? Okay.
How did that miss? Oh no, did he block it?
He went invul.
Oh, he went
did his
invul?
attack.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. The
What
game
a
just...
troll.
Yep. This is part of why I say this game is very, very like punishing. It's one of the hardest speed games just because of this boss, and some of the boss kills are just out of this world, like what you have to do. But if you can pull it off, and trust me, I don't want to make it seem like it's impossible. It just takes, you know, some dedication. So if you're into a very execution heavy, you know, speedrun game, requires some reactions, this is definitely one for you. And Shinobi's not too hard to find on Amazon. Not to mention, if you didn't want to go that route, it is on PSN for like, I think, $5. And the PS3 version is fine to speedrun, because that's where I do all my runs on. Oh no. So this is the part of the boss fight that I was mentioning. Like, you kind of have to make that choice now. Pretty much, Sai has to get some life back.
This is where you go after the talismans, even if you can't get a hit on the boss, just for safety, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You got to. So you have to sacrifice your damage output just for survivability. Yeah, any hit on the boss without any kind of like build up from any of the talisman is just, damage is just really, really poor. But with patience, I'll also throw out that funny thing, you just threw some kunai. Kunai also have very low effects on the talisman as well, because again, their hurt boxes, they're just so dead. And you know, you guys have seen it, you know, Siphon's been swinging at these talisman, and just what looks like it should hit just doesn't.
Yeah. There's definitely been a few where it looks like the sword goes directly through it. And he has to turn around. Oh, excuse me. And then he has to turn around and like smack it again.
Which unfortunately wastes time. Can we get in there? Can we get in there? Trolled.
This boss is so rude.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yep.
Absolutely. 100%.
It's like, it's pretty often that speedrun commentary will talk about how something is really hard and really difficult, and it's not always visible to the viewer. This is very obvious to someone who's never played this game before how rude this boss is.
Oh yes. So who is this guy and why are we fighting? Well, he is the evil mage that basically just doesn't like Hatsuma's clan. I forget the actual backstory behind it, but he's trying to basically take the sword, because in Hatsuma's clan, what ends up happening is someone, you train to be Master Ninja, and then typical story here, you gotta, you and your ninja brother gotta go at it, and you're supposed to kill your brother, and you become the head of the ninja clan. Hatsuma opted to not do that, and in comes our boss, and he kind of swoops in and is like, hey, you guys, you all work for me now. And it's all based on the Shrine Maiden. I honestly just have forgotten a good chunk of the story because I just speedrun the game so much. I've just totally forgot about it. But I mean, essentially, our boss here, he's just resurrected and just pretty much turned all of Hatsuma's clan against him. Now, there are some mechanics and some things in the sequel that are definitely adjusted. So if you don't know, the sequel is Nightshade. Nice, good damage.
Good hit.
And Nightshade actually does a lot of things right and corrects a lot of the wrongs for this game in particular. As a speed game, it's pretty fun too. Just has a lot of auto-scrolling sections, but it's just fun and just as technical of a run. Like, for example, the kick in this game, while it is very useful, you don't really use it nearly as much. Whereas in Nightshade, you definitely use it a lot. Size almost there. I'm gonna take the long route.
No.
He's being aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nice.
Good dog. Sheesh. All right.
Good job.
I
Good job.
think I'll pass out now.
That was so tense. I just caught myself holding my breath at several points.
Yeah. Sai, you had some really close calls there, man. Your HP was pretty low. I was like, oh my god, please don't die.
Yeah, it's all about being clutch, right?
Yeah, and hey, you did enter, and again, you went this far. You only had one death on Moritsune. That's actually really good for like still just starting the game. That's still really good.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you so much for the commentary. It's awesome, and yeah, allowed me to focus on this and like even get some insight about the game that I didn't know of as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Again, I hope that we can pull you back, to speedrun this game again.
I swear, every year, I'm like, all right, I turn on Shinobi, I'm like, okay, let's go. And then I practice stage 8 and everything is cool. And then I get to the final boss and I'm like, this is why. This is why.
I get this image.
Well,
I just can imagine that Kenso just like does the long, slow inhale through his nose and like, yeah, that's why.
And the thing is, there's still some more strats that can be done to lower the time. Mm-hmm. On my side, not to mention, Moritsune runs, they're just absolutely insane. Just because Moritsune's overall, like, this last boss here would be a lot easier with Moritsune. In fact, I would suggest you try that side. Moritsune is a little bit harder regarding, like, soul management, mm-hmm. but his damage output's a lot higher, so dealing with the last boss is a little bit easier with him. Mm-hmm. Just because his overall damage output's just a lot higher.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying them out.
Yeah, even with 2 Tate bars, you will do, like, way more damage than Hatsuma, by far. Just don't pick Joe.
And then I wouldn't get this like crook in my neck from being still, hoping that he doesn't kill me. Like, I can finally move again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any shout-outs before we wrap things up here, both of you?
Go ahead, Kingpin.
Okay. Well, first off, shout out to Cypherin for hitting me up and asking me to do commentary for this. Anytime. You're a great friend of mine. And I have no problem with this. Big ups to GDQ once again having me here again. I'm in the commentary seat this time. I'm not in the hot seat. I'm in the spectator zone right now. But it's really cool here to keep you guys here in the chat entertained. I'm very glad to be able to do this. So Big ups to everyone on my stream. Big ups to everyone that goes to Cypher stream. If you have not checked out his streams, this guy runs a lot of killer games on the Genesis and even this game. Like, I've seen his runs for Adventures of Batman and Robin. They're super sick. If you have not checked out his streams, you need to. You see his name right here. Just go to Twitch and just hit the follow button. Takes you no time. Okay, check him out. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for having me here. Shout out to everyone from my stream. I see you guys in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone in the stream chat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my commentary. Hopefully you guys enjoyed Shinobi. And if you're thinking about picking it up, jump on it. It's a fun game.
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit to that. Shout outs to my RGL TV family, Sega crew, Planet Chaos, my wife, my family, all my streamer friends, and my friends who might be tuning into this. Yeah, it was great running all 3 games. Thank you for having me, GDQ. Thank you, Railcoon. And stay tuned for LV Creed coming up.
Yeah, and make sure you follow Kenso too, because he was plugging to follow Cypher, and he's got a pretty good stream too. Just saying.
Yep, Shinkensu.
I mean,
yep. Make sure you follow him.
You guys can. I play mostly fighting games, but every now and again I'll turn on a speedrun game. I'm thinking about Cyber Shadow.
That would be interesting to see. But we are going to wrap things up here with Cypher's games. We've got one more game coming up here tonight. LV Creed is going to be playing Mega Man Rock and Roll, which is a fan game based in the classic Mega Man style. It's going to be a lot of fun using the Roll character primarily. So stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break, get that set up. We're going to play a few ads while we're on break. If you're subscribed, you won't see those ads. And of course, if you're not subscribed, we'd appreciate it if you would consider subscribing, because Hotfix is funded in part thanks to your subscriptions and bits. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes with some Mega Man. Welcome back, everyone, to the Community Spotlight. We've got our final run of the night. It's going to be Mega Man Rock and Roll by LV Creed. Hope everyone who's been hanging out this entire night has enjoyed this sort of eclectic collection of retro games, and we've been sort of stretching the definition of retro as we go. And this one is probably the biggest stretch. It's a classic Mega Man game. It's a fan game, but it was released in 2019. But classic Mega Man is still retro, right? It counts. But we've got LV Creed here who's going to run the game for us, Resisting Frame, to help on commentary. How you both doing today?
Ooh, this is gonna be quite a thing. So yeah, this is probably one of the toughest runs that I ever done, period. And I've ran quite a bit of Mega Man fan games and clones that have been pretty up there, so the tension is gonna be high.
Yeah, and definitely. That's actually one of the reasons I think I was brought up for commentary. I mean, this game is not the type of game where you kind of want to be talking and playing at the same time, because a lot of inputs, a lot of calculations that you have to make in game. So, you know, I'm just here to help out.
Oh, does it still say Shinobi? Okay, let me update that real quick. Right. But why don't you give us a quick intro on this game? Because it's a fan game. It came out relatively recently, so people have never seen this before. What can we expect to see here?
So yeah, this game came out in very late November 2019, made by Dennis Engelhardt, who just liked the old school difficulty of Mega Man games. So he made it pretty much as tough as it can be, while still being pretty generous and making sure that all the mistakes that you make in this game is pretty much on you. So of course, as it entitles, it includes Rock, which is Mega Man, and Roll, which you'll be seeing quite a lot of as the game progresses. So you're gonna see a lot of good gameplay. The music is very, very solid, and I'm just gonna let you see for yourself as the game progresses.
Sounds like
Definitely.
We're good to go then, and we'll just get into it as we get started, right?
Yeah, starting when I click new game.
Yeah.
RF, you don't mind counting me down?
Of course, man. Let's do it. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, and we have started. So the intro to Mega Man Rock and Roll here is pretty much a mysterious structure appears and pretty much captures the the most advanced 8 robots. And of course, a little bit while later, as you guys see here, they start also capturing some familiar robots as well, some not so familiar as well. But we're moving in here into the castle, trying to see what's going on. And right after this half, you're going to see a quick introduction to Roll. So we're going to see right over here, we have the introduction to Roll. And what's fascinating about Roll is that she actually has a double jump, which is the primary reason why we actually are going to use her the majority of the game. If not, I think it's all the Robo stages, just because this double jump is more useful than Rockman's charge jump. So Reese can just jump off ledges and right away ensure a double jump. And what's actually her double jump is actually risky as well, because sometimes you may time the double jump a little bit early, and instead of landing on the ledge, you just execute a double jump off the ledge. So this is one of the reasons why you actually require a lot of concentration when maneuvering with Roll. And one of the interesting things that I really like about this game is that you actually, during like the castle stages, you actually use both Rock and Roll during the castle stages. So you kind of alternate between each of them. So only about in the Robo stages do you get to choose who you play with, but in the castle you'll be alternating. Each one will have like their own separate stage, and it's going to be fun to see. So I really enjoy the movement in this game. The slides are very, very fun feeling. You just feel like overall the movement is very smooth. So definitely a fun game to play. And as Creed mentioned before, the music is awesome. And we're heading right over to the first robot master, which is Dune Woman. We're going to start utilizing the double jump right away. We're going to be double jumping out of the Sniper Joes soon. Right, you're going to see here, instead of having to wait for their shield to come up, we just double jump right over them, no problem. And as you can see, we're maneuvering really fast, trying to get to the stage as fast as possible. We can shoot the sandblock cylinders to take them out. Of course, we can also walk over them, but they will disappear right after. So we got to be careful with those. And we got the cool Mets coming up. And this is just wonderful music. Sometimes I like to just stay quiet and enjoy them. I will commentate as much as I can without falling in love with the music all over again.
Don't be surprised if I start humming a few bars at some point. The music is that good.
Definitely. I might be doing it myself too, but. So we took out that Sniper Joe without jumping, let him fall down. There's a lot of birds here dropping eggs, similar to Airman in Mega Man 2. We just pass over. We got them coconuts getting out the way, and we're heading to Dune Woman. Now, Dune Woman, she's somewhat RNG based. You kind of want her to stay above ground. You don't want to see her throwing too many tornadoes. You kind of just want to keep hitting her. You can snag some hits in between, but this is like the optimal path that you want. Just have her shooting around. You don't want her digging around too much, and she's not being very friendly right now. We're seeing quick hits from LV Creed, just kindly trying to time those shots to get her in constant iframes.
Actually, that was a good boss fight. But yeah, as you said, this is probably one of the most random bosses in the entire game. She can go up in the sky with the tornadoes, go down to the sands for a very decent length of time. What I got was actually a pretty decent fight. This fight can go up to leaps and bounds.
Oh, definitely. Especially if you're missing your shots and just keep getting bad RNG in the process, it could really end the run pretty early. You kind of don't want to go after. Kind of want to reset afterwards.
Pray to God that I don't mess this stage up. This is one of my most inconsistent stages.
Someone in chat's
Definitely,
asking if
a lot of chance to fall down here, and of course we have a surprise W tank that we're gonna pick up right away. You're gonna hear that little sound, and you definitely don't want to touch this little parachute spike balls. They are instant kill, so you don't want to touch them. Ooh, taking the
Yep, did
that
exactly what I
necessary-
thought would happen. So I'm just gonna take the rest of the stage safe. And yes, these spikes are instant kill, so be sure not to get popped by them.
And this med just brought a quick surprise. And we have the conveyor belts here. Of course, you have blue to push you to the right, and conveyor belts with the orange to push you to the left. And you kind of have to be careful because during this stage, you're going to see a lot of what do you call those things? They just things that just smash you like open. So you kind of don't want to be slow and or take damage in between because it kind of will mess up your cycle and you will get smashed. So want to avoid that as much as we can. And here you go, we see the first usage of Doom Woman's tornado, which actually flies away many of the enemies in the area. I haven't tried it on all the enemies, so I'm not sure if it works on all the enemies. But definitely,
it doesn't work on every enemy. If the enemy is stronger, it's just gonna do multiple hits.
Ooh, that's interesting. So definitely, especially for bosses, definitely not gonna. You cannot cheat your way out of this one and just make the enemies, the boss fights fly away. But it is the weakness for Missile Man, so we're gonna see it coming up soon. And we have one more set of hydraulic press. Ooh, I just remember what it was. So hydraulic presses, we want to be careful here. Very timed. We're gonna wait for this one out.
Good luck.
So the Missile Man fight coming up, of course we have the Dune Tornado as the weakness. We're trying to get double hits as much as possible. It will make the fight go faster. So you kind of aim it right directly at him and you will get some double hits in between, especially when he's shooting his missiles. You got a double hit.
Yeah, that was some really favorable RNG. As he was trying to say, you definitely want to get while he's shooting missiles to ensure that he's able to be shot with one tornado with 2 hits. Also, he has a couple of attacks that you can do, a 2-hit, 1 tornado shot, but you gotta do some extra dodging. So before we continue on, I want to talk about a little bit of the route. The route is actually weakness route. I am going in weakness order, but I'm going in such a way that I'm getting a specific item as the game progresses. Just like in the later Mega Man games, 9 and 10, you actually get upgrades when you complete a certain number of stages. When you get 2, you get the Rush Coil. You don't get Rush Coil at the start of the game, but it's after you defeat 4 bosses that you're going to get Rose item. And that's going to be very imperative for the upcoming stages afterwards, but for the time being, we're just going to keep rolling along with our next 2 Robot Masters.
Yes, definitely. So we're gonna actually see a fair use of Rose items, so that's what I'm actually looking forward to see. It's very fun to use it, but for now we're gonna be approaching Tideman. We're gonna start using the missiles more effectively now. So we use them usually primarily a lot on those big fish because they're very hard to take down, and also they have an explosion. So if you're in the way, you kind of can take damage, and it could really mess up your timing on a lot of jumps. And of course, we have Creed using the missiles to open up a path with those tadpole eggs. We can ignore this letter. They have a different purpose in a different category. And here you definitely want to have very good timely jumps. You don't want those jellyfish messing up your timing. Any mistake here usually leads in a pitfall depth, so you gotta kind of really be careful. And this anglerfish is actually pretty fun. You're kind of mixing in tornado shots in between missiles as well. So you throw a tornado, and while it's active, you're kind of shooting missiles in between. So it's a very good sequence to get down. As a start, when I started it, I was pretty much using just missiles, but later on, as you get better in the game, you start mixing up your weapons better. And we're already almost at the boss fight. So the thing with Tideman, you kind of want to have little fishes. When you have the little fishes, when he throws his little fishes at you, you kind of it's a little bit easier to hit. The big fishes is the one that we kind of want to avoid having. And we have little fishes, nice so far, and we're gonna be able to get it, nice.
Kind of didn't want to have the shield bubble this soon, but it's fine. I would rather have him do the big fish, or he can actually throw a linked anchor at you. But overall, as long as it gives small fishes first, it's still a relatively quick fight. Also, bye-bye favorite theme of the game, in my opinion.
It's a very good theme. And one thing to note is that actually LV Creed was actually one of the playtesters for this game while it was in development. So
I wanted to keep that on the hush hush, but yeah, it is true. I have play tested this for a little bit. You'll see it in the credits as after the game's over.
my bad. Airhammer also is on the chat and and had mentioned it already. So I just thought I would be good to mention. My bad for ruining the surprise, but anyways, on to Drake Man. So Drake Man is actually one of my favorite stages. There's a lot of different ways you can do this intro part of the stage, and this is where we actually start seeing shifting between constant weapons. You're going to be seeing a lot of shifting between the tornado. You're going to be seeing the shift to the missile and into the bubble. Now, the bubble is, I forgot how many hits it is. You pretty much can absorb a certain amount of hits.
6 hits.
6 hits, right? Yeah. So it's a very good weapon to have early game, and just kind of to be able to take hits, and also the bubble, the splash from the explosion also causes a fair amount of damage. So it's a very good weapon to have, and it's very fun to just kind of like bulldoze through everything. And you're gonna see a little bit how to use it a little bit faster when you face the boss. So we are just bulldozing through those little robot things that if they hit the lava, they just throw angular fire.
Wow! Where did my jump go?
And it disappeared. Wow.
Wow! Thanks a lot, game. Well, got to get a little slower.
It's very hard to do this game with Deathless. Like I said, everything has to be really calculated. One missed double jump, one missed slide, and the game makes you pay for it. So but we did get through. We do have enough ammo for the boss fight. For this boss fight, you can do damage by contact with the bubble and splash. It's much faster to get splash contact. The only thing is a little bit harder because you have to be relatively close to Drake, and if you mistime your jump, you could end up falling in the lava, and no amount of bubble can save you for that. So you kind of want to do it that way.
Yeah, thanks to that death, I was actually down a bubble. I pretty much routed this game so much that I have exact ammo for the Drake Man fight. Unfortunately, thanks to that death, thanks to a dropped input, I didn't have sufficient enough bubble to actually get a good kill on him. It actually gave me a relatively decent pattern for it too. But as I was saying, after 4 Robot Masters, we now get Roll's item, which is Beat Lift. And this is where, at this point, Roll becomes leaps and bounds the better option for the speed run. Beat Lift is insanely good. In general, it just pretty much just lifts Roll up in from the air, but it allows you to skip a lot of obstacles, and you're gonna see it to use immediately in Polar Woman stage.
You're going to be seeing a lot, and of course I think in conjunction with a jump, it definitely lifts you up even higher. So if you time your jumps with the beat lift, it will lift you up pretty quickly as opposed to just staying on the ground. We're going to see it here in after the second transition stage. You're going to see that beat lift just up and just lift them up to the top of the stage.
I messed up. I didn't get a good weapon swap. I was supposed to use my Desert Storm and I messed up on my swap.
And we see it there though. We see it on the third transition stage. And of course, you can skip big gaps here just by keeping the lift going. A little jump, you can jump over enemies, right, that aren't necessary to kill. And of course, we're gonna be seeing a lot of bubble shield to bulldoze through a lot of the stages. And those whales kind of propel you up. You don't want this whale to propel you up, though. It will it will give you a sad ending. So we're glad we avoided that one, though. And one of the cool things about bubble is that it will keep you afloat in the water. So if you ever are about to hit the water, instead of just falling down, just use bubble and it'll keep you up. And those mets, it's really a hassle with those try shots. And for those that play this game casually, there's actually a hidden letter on this waterfall that Creed just passed right before the boss gate. And so we're gonna have Polar Woman here. She's kind of gonna skate around. She will throw the kind of like snowballs at you. 3 snowballs, and the third one can freeze you, and it will keep you there for a specific amount of time. Usually she just like jumps and runs over you, but luckily with the flame we take her out easily.
Yeah, relatively simple boss fight. She does have a little bit of randomness, how long she skates, but how many times she skates, which attacks she uses. She actually has 3 attacks that she can use. Probably the one that she just used is one of the better ones. So overall, pretty good, pretty lucky fight.
And now we get to use polar weapon. This item, as it showed, it has the capability to freeze things, and you can actually after you freeze, you can just jump over it, walk on it, and such. There will be some instances of that, but this stage kind of reminds me of Quickman stage in Mega Man 2. With the lasers, you kind of don't want to touch those. Those are instant kill. And as Creed mentioned earlier, the Dune Tornado actually forgot about those things. They don't lift up certain enemies if they're strong enough, but it does do the 3 damage enough to take it out eventually. So, and here we use the fire to take out the light bulb. There are different ways to take it out. I like to buster it while on deep lift, but that's definitely a quick way as well.
Yeah, best of the swap. That's fine though.
And also, one cool thing to note is that there are actually various ways to play this game, especially in regards to the weapon swap. I personally use an analog controller to do the weapon switching. The current world record holders, the first place, second place, they use keyboard. So you can also use keyboard, play this game on keyboard, and weapon switch with buttons. And Creed, I believe you're using bumpers, right? You're using.
Yeah, but you just shoulder swapping.
Yeah, so shoulder swapping similar to like you would in Mega Man X, which is, I believe, is probably the most difficult way to go about this game from a personal standpoint. So. Just the fact that you're seeing these quick weapon switches back and forth is actually really impressive to see.
Not so lucky that time with the jump. That's fine.
And for the boss coming up, this is a rather difficult boss. You kind of want to keep timing your shots. You're gonna start seeing these small snowball shots in, and you kind of want to keep timing your shots just outside of the iframe so you can get constant hits. So far, it's looking like a good fight. You can freeze, use a full charge snowball and freeze, and kind of time your shot right afterwards. But I'm not sure if that's fast as just doing single hits.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either, but it feels slower because you need to take time to actually charge a full charge snowball shot in order to get that freeze, and it only does 6 damage. So it's pretty much a question of fast DPS to try to kill Reactor Man as quickly as possible.
Oh, definitely. And here we're gonna see the usage of laser. So you're gonna see the beam Usually it's to charge up certain things to let it go open, but I don't believe we use it in any percent run. There's not really any situation where we need to, but it's good to note. And I like that the game shows you the outside usage of the game other than weapon damage. And here we come with Ghost Woman. Ghost Woman is actually one of my favorite stages. Is very. I like the fluidity of the route, and you get to use a lot of weapons in between. And also, we get to see our first familiar Robo. So you're gonna see someone that's familiar to the classic series, and he kind of operates the same way as he would in the original series. So you can see already some familiar enemies as well from the section. And here we go. We actually face off against Skullman. Now, of course, I believe this Skullman is better than the Mega Man 4 Skullman, but he does have the same properties as he won't start until you start. So he will, in this manner, we can actually have the same fight every single time when you face him. So if you time your inputs correctly. Ooh, be careful. So roll is also dangerous because you can actually mistime your double jump off the energy drop. So you gotta also be careful with that. Here we use the double B lift to skip the Yoku blocks. Who needs Yoku blocks when you got beat lift? And of course, we're timing the snowballs, let them roll in front of you. And here for this boss coming up with the bells, we shoot a tornado first to take 2 damage on the top one. I mean on the bottom one. You can just take it out with 1 fire afterwards. And we kind of want to be careful to with the bell sounds because they actually cause damage. And nice Yoku motion. And here we just freeze the first 2 so you just kind of avoid taking damage. This pit always scared me. Used to scare me a lot when I first played it. Used to just see it and you see the spikes and then all of a sudden you get saved by Yoku block. So that's actually a fun fun transition stage. And here we have Ghost Woman. Now usually I fight Ghost Woman a different way, but the way I saw Creed do it in this PB run was really fast. Usually from what I saw, had her respawn right in the corner of the boss room and had a pretty quick kill. I'm not sure if would you give some more information on that, Creed? Which is the fastest way you think to kill Ghost Woman?
Honestly, the fastest way I believe is if she gives 2 window flashes, but they got to be immediate. You can't have the 2 flash like you saw in the second part of the fight. So it's 2 single flashes that are the fastest, and then a particular damage strat that Resisting Frame was talking about that unfortunately you didn't get to see, which another person actually found out, and I just adopted it because it was decently fast as well.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was impressed. And here we have Beetle Lady coming up, which is actually, from my understanding, a pretty quick stage. But it's very difficult. It's very easy to take a death in this stage, and the last part of the stage is just like gut-wrenching. I'm always holding my breath. No matter how many times I run this game, I'm always holding my breath during the final part. So I'll probably stay quiet as well while that part is happening. And you're gonna see just some really good movement. And we're already seeing some really good movement here. We're using the flame now to take away the small enemies. We kind of just shoot and just dash forward them as they burn to a crisp. And as usual, using the shield that's a battering ram to kind of just force our way into the game. And of course, using the beat lift to traverse over the spikes and double jumping off. It's a little quick way to get over pits. And here we go, guys. So this part here, this is the first half. You get a little bit of breather in between. So you're kind of mixing in small tile jumps with big tile jumps, while small tiles are falling from above you. And then it's just a bunch of chaos in this game. You have beetle mobs coming behind you and everything dropping, and just so very well traversed by Creed. with Beetle Lady, you're kind of gonna use the Soul Trap to get some 2-point hits, and then she takes a lot of damage when you actually Soul Trap the beautiful fight, perfect fight. When you use the Soul Trap to capture the beetles and she takes contact damage from them, it really does full max damage on her. So that was a very quick fight.
All right, so that 8 Robos down. So we're about to get into the full meat of the run. This game definitely has a bit of a difficulty curve from going to the 8 Robos into the final stages. It's gonna get pretty chaotic from here on out. So let's see where it goes from here.
Definitely, and it's definitely a different feel. And one of the things that the reason why there's such a big curve is because you've been using roll for the majority of the game, and then all of a sudden you go back to like I mentioned before, the castle stages kind of have a mixture of both rock and roll in it. So you kind of have to get your mind off the double jump, because of course rock doesn't have that. So you can easily what used to happen to me when I started learning this game is I used to double jump with rock, and then of course realize he can't and hit a spike. So you kind of have to be able to use both adequately in this game. And here we have the first half of roll, and we're gonna move on to rock. And yes, we have beautiful weapon swapping. Like I said, with the shoulder bumps, using the shoulder buttons, man, is definitely very impressive to see. And this jump always scares me, right next to the spikes. If you overshoot that, of course, you're gonna slide right into the spikes. We're gonna try to take an early hit here by holding the button. I actually didn't know, I used to mash it, but thank you for Creed for letting me know you can hold it and get the automatic shot. And here comes the boss named ICU2. The iframes here are kind of wonky. It's very hard to predict exactly when you're gonna get the right iframes to shoot a secondary missile. And if you miss your time, of course your shots, you kind of lose your cycle and end up losing more time. Beautiful fight.
So naturally, you find out that Dr. Wily is behind the whole kidnapping ring, you get a Skull Fortress, and now you're gonna have to do the Wily stages. So tell about how the Wily stages work.
So the Wily stages work, Rock and Roa have each their own set of stages that they do. You're kind of like traversing one half while the other is traversing the other half, and they will eventually meet up later. This one is primarily Met side of the castle. So if you're a big Mets fan, Mr. Cab, you'll love this stage. Even the boss fight is Met generated. So, but we're gonna see a lot of bubble to kind of traverse the little Mets. This little jump can be tricky. If you over jump that, you kind of get caught by the picker uppers. And we're gonna see the first instance of coil here, kind of lift you up. Ooh. And we have the soul trap using here. This part of the stage is very tricky. You can traverse it without taking any damage, but you kind of have to have the timing down. And this part, this is the first I've seen it with the soul trap using that part. You kind of just volleying everything around. It was really impressive to see, considering how hard, in my opinion, it is to use the soul trap. Because if you're wrong by a certain angle, it will fly in a completely different direction than what you intended. So you could like jump up and it'll like hit down, it'll go down. So speaking of which, with the soul trap, we're gonna be actually using it on the boss. So the boss is pretty much a Met grabber. It's gonna grab Mets, and what you're gonna try to do is you're gonna try to soul trap the Mets and try to angle shots. And you kind of have to know where the Mets are gonna fall, so you can get early shots in and soul trap the Mets. And here we have perfect boss fight, guys. That is as perfect as it can get. If you miss any of those shots, you're gonna get an extra cycle, and it gets kind of tricky from there. So very good fight.
Yeah, the soul trap is definitely one of the most unwieldy weapons when it's charged up. You can easily shoot it in a direction that you never even intended. So that was overall a really good fight.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I think Roll's stages are primarily harder because she just gets everything thrown in her way. You guys see here, see all these parachutes, all these birds throwing eggs at you right away from the get-go, and very, very good movement from Creed on this point, because this stage right here is definitely one that will punish you for any mistakes that you make. It's just filled with so many spikes. It's filled with so many spikes, and we're traversing everything with the pits.
Messed up my buttons.
Oh, and just as we were saying, so pretty much any damage taken will make you pay. And unfortunately, this is not like Mega Man 5 where you can actually get a lot of life ups here. So, but we get to see the beautiful movement again of the first stage. And we do get our weapon refilled, so that's at least one thing to look forward to.
The little spine didn't appear like I thought it would. Yeah, that's fine.
Ooh, so close.
Yeah, Creed hugging those spikes.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm getting a little bit flustered. We get it back though.
You got
Yeah, this time it's not a game over, so it puts you right in that spot. And there we go. Nice.
That could have been much better, but we'll just take it as it is. Gotta roll with the punches, literally.
Beautiful, avoiding those wrecking balls. And this can be very confusing at first if you're first casually getting through this part for the first time. And we're gonna use Soul Trap to open up the gates with the light bulbs. Alright, and this part here can be very tricky. If you miss a shot, it kind of throws it off. Of course, you have all the light beam coming up. Again, it's like Mega Man 2. Quick Man, it is instant kill, and we're approaching the boss. If you're playing this casually, you would not know how to beat this boss like quickly. So we're gonna see it here. I'm gonna let it roll first, and I think maybe Creed can explain better how it goes.
Yeah, technically the original weakness is the Desert Storm. You take enough damage from Big Bulb, which is the name, and then you wind up getting shot out back outside. But if you actually use the charge laser, normally it will actually recharge the boss. But as a little Easter egg, if you actually keep firing at the Big Bulb, you actually overcharge the boss, and you actually kill it instantly.
Which is really, really... when I first blind played that game, of course, a Big Bulb, I didn't do it that way. And when I found out, I was like mind blown. So pretty interesting to see the first time around. Here we're gonna see sorry, had something in my throat. We're gonna see Rock traversing with these exploding barrels. We're gonna try to time some of our shots in. Gonna get some refill our weapon here because we're gonna need it more later on. And this part here can be a real killer. You have all these shrimps here hitting you. If you make a little bit of a mistake, you will fall into the pit. So very good sliding and very good maneuvering on this part. We're gonna use Bubble to slowly glide us up, and we're gonna switch to Missile and use Flame. So a lot of weapon switching here. And we're going to use the laser actually to get some long distance shots. So that's primarily the use for now. And that jump is actually very tricky. You kind of want to be careful here. There we go. So easy to die. The exploding blocks are the only thing keeping you up. And here we have an E-Tank. And oh! That one is always a surprise. E-Tank, but you gotta kill Eddie first. Evil Eddie, because he's trying to screw you over.
Yeah, the game takes quite a bit of influence from Mega Man 11.
And here we're gonna see some very quick swaps. First, we're gonna buster the first bubble out, and we're gonna see some quick swaps between.
Nah, I messed myself up. We're just gonna buster it. It's kind of finicky on how you do the ice shots with the snow roller, and it's supposed to be mainly using the snow roller in combination with the blast missile.
Yeah, so the way you would try to do it, of course, all the ammo has to be conserved here, so that's why he switched to Buster. So the way it would work is you would actually full charge the polar and get the boss to freeze, and then right away switch to missile and get the max damage hit with the missile. And you would kind of do that, I think, I would do it up to the final hit. You can Buster it afterwards, or if not, you can use a tornado in conjunction with laser as well. And here, this is like, for me, this is my purple hell. So this is, and this stage is crazy because you won't fall. There is no pits. It's pretty much like a continuation of the stage. You go all the way left, you end up right, and you go all the way up, you end up down. So you kind of have to traverse in that manner. And of course, there's spikes everywhere, and it's just a very tricky stage overall. For me, for a long time, it's a run killer for me. As you can see, very good drop right in between the rotating eyes. And here we see the triple eye, very easy to get hit and go back down. We do have the little spikes that kind of roll up as soon as you make impact. Very good movement. Just rolling in between the eyes is very, very tricky, and they do a lot of damage. So you take a couple of them and you're pretty much. Ooh, gotta be careful on this one. Take a cautionary E-tank.
Yeah, kinda got a little cross up in my movement, but that's fine. Pretty much had that scouted out.
We're gonna take intentional damage here to just kind of slide over the spikes, which is one of the reasons we actually need to have taken the E-tank. And here we go. This part is so scary. You kind of want to time your double jump right as you fall. If you're too early, you're gonna jump and hit the enemy. And this fight, you kind of have to be very precise to have the perfect fight. You have to time all your shots within the iframes, and you're gonna have to mix in. You're gonna have some certain squares that can turn red, and you can actually shoot those, and it'll flame up and hit the enemy. So we're gonna see that. There you go. Nice. Beautiful. And we're gonna finish it with one last buster shot, and that's a perfect fight. That is a perfect fight. To do this, if you were to die while you're fighting the stage and run out of flame, it would be such a difficult fight to do.
The stage just looks so cool when it's done quickly like that.
And we have the refight section. In the refight section, again, like the intro stage, you're gonna have both rock and roll, each with half sections. You do not go in. You do not have the boss fights right away. You actually have to fight some robot masters in between, and they actually serve a different purpose in this game. If Creed wants to talk about it later if he has time. But of course, we will be having some boss fights, except for one, and I believe that should be Skullman. So because you beat Skullman in the beginning of the 8 Robos, oof, that's a tough jump to make. Since you beat Skullman in the beginning of the 8 Robos, you don't get to fight him again, and instead something familiar to what he has will pop up instead. But for now, we will fight Hornet Woman.
Yeah, so the thing about this is you're supposed to actually find and defeat them in the 8 robos. So if you don't find them in the 8 robo stages, you end up fighting them here. So you actually get a maximum of about 13 boss fights in total if you don't save everyone.
And here we have Dagger Man. Now, I actually do not know much about this boss. From my understanding, he is another. Is he a fan-made boss from a different game?
Yes, he is. He's actually from another fan game called Super Fighting Robot. Another fan game I definitely would recommend people to try out and play.
This jump is tough. We're gonna polar this guy. And like I mentioned before, since we already beat Skullman, we do not need to fight him. And we jump right into the robo stages. Now, we will be using a weapon tank, but the thing is that it only works on one character, I believe, if I remember correctly.
That is correct.
So we have to kind of conserve, be mindful still of all the characters' ammo. And that's such a good fight. Oh, what? What was that?
Oh, I don't believe I'm gonna actually get to show off that. Yeah, that's a little time-saving glitch.
Wow, that's the first time I've actually seen it. I thought the game was glitching out. That was so funny to see. Oh my goodness. Wow, so I forgot what I was talking about. That was so cool. Oh my goodness. That was the first time I've seen that. So of course, we're gonna see this part here is all about ammo conservation. We will be needing the shield, the water bubble, and of course the ladybug, which he got good RNG from. Those ladybugs sometimes they like to hit Dune Woman a lot, so so that can be a little bit troublesome. And right after the refight, we're actually gonna go see a familiar character as well. As mentioned before, if you fought him earlier in the game, you don't have to fight him, but since we didn't, we're gonna see him real soon. Here comes our first usage of the weapon tank, and it's mainly used on Rock, because Rock did have a lot of weapon usage throughout the runs.
Oops! I forgot I messed up my order. This is actually really, really bad. I don't get this glitch a lot. How many... Oh, I gotta do it now. Buster only.
I'm a little bit behind, so... Oh, you are gonna do a Buster only. Oh, this
Yeah,
is gonna be...
Buster only.
So we're gonna see some really good movements. If you get caught by the ball, you do get frozen for a second. You can kind of wiggle out. And we're gonna be here for a bit.
Yeah, I really cannot afford to waste any more charge laser for do I have charge? Yeah, I do not have much charge laser, and I need it for the next fight that's coming up.
Yeah,
Well,
they're very essential. It's very essential for this to get a quick cycle.
so you're actually gonna see some attacks from this woman. Not intentional, but at least you get to see some attacks.
We're kind of highlighting Ghost Woman for a bit. All right, and we're back. We're back in action.
Actually, I should be fine with this.
All right, again, we're aiming for the double hits. It's very easy to get the double hits while he's shooting the missiles, or even when he's doing the jumping in between. But of course, we need to conserve both the Dune and of course the beam laser, as well as the beetle. So we actually are going to use all three for the final boss. And of course, like I mentioned before, we have the familiar face in Mr. Blues, our proto. And the fastest way to get this guy is just to watch him, let him pass you, and then just kind of blast him from the back. Of course, when he jumps and you shoot on the shield, it will fire back at you. So this is just a much easier way.
All right, and it is a little bit of a plot twist. The very last person that you defeat the boss rush is, yeah, actually, that person actually gets taken away, and now you got to chase him down so you can actually try to free her or him, depending on who gets captured.
Yes. And here we go. This is just a quick intro. Getting into the boss. Similar platforms to Mega Man 3.
And it's actually faster to have Rock for here as opposed to Roll, because she actually has a longer way to get to this particular boss fight, which is kind of nutty.
Yeah, so the way that we're going to do this is we're going to use the laser to kind of shoot on the opposite side to kind of fill the gauge, and then we're going to use the laser again to get some quick hits on the eyes. They are the weakness, so we're going to fill it up again and shoot again. Ooh, we're missing some shots, but it's okay for now.
Yeah, this is kind of chaotic, so I'm kind of...
It's very hard. It's very hard to get consistently because you're kind of avoiding so many things. A lot of things are in your way, and you kind of have to buster it fast. And then we have it open. We got the first one. We're gonna buster it. We're gonna laser shot, and we're gonna try to.
Yeah, this is kind of turning to a little bit of a debacle. And yet, I'm not surprised.
Wily never ceases to surprise us. And for this second phase, we're actually going to use the beetles to put them inside and have them do max damage to Wily. For Rock, we're going to use the tornado. Since Roll has a double jump, you can actually avoid using the tornado. And of course, also you can hit Wily on top but it has to be on the same side. So you cannot, hit Rock and it's on the right side. So for the third and final phase, we use the water shield. Ooh, that's turning into a quick fight.
Time.
And we're almost done. And time. 47-17.
Not bad. Definitely could have been better. I actually do have a 43 time to my name, but this is such a volatile run. Getting underestimated is definitely something I can most certainly live with. It's just a really, really insane game to try to master or optimize.
That looks very impressive, and it also looked very hard. So even with the mistakes, that was a really good showing. Thank you, Creed.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I would like to actually show the rest of the credits.
Sure.
And while the credits are rolling, I would like to explain that is actually the bad ending. As we said, there are also 4 Robot Masters. The Skullman fight that I saw in Ghostwoman stage, but also the 3 others that you saw in the refight stage. You're actually supposed to find them in the 8 Robos. They come to actually help you in the Wily stages, and from there we're gonna get a little bit of spoiler territory. Just go to the Wily stages with all 4 rescued Robot Masters, and then do some other stuff in which I'll let you see for yourself, and then you actually get the good end. In the meanwhile, just enjoy a little bit of aftermath with some of our Robot Masters.
Yeah, definitely. This is like one of my favorite credits scenes. It's a lot of cute and a lot of funny situations that you see with all the Robot Masters.
Yeah, you can see how much effort was put into this game. It's really nice. It looks really good.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of effort and care with how bosses work, how interactions work, level design, platforming, all this stuff. And of course, little scenes like this, where you get Nightman serenading Ghostwoman.
It's so cute. You can actually see Nightman. There are certain ways to see Nightman and a Splash Woman, but I'm not gonna spoil anything. But there are ways to see it.
And yeah, there's my name in the place testers. As mentioned before, I did play test the game. Came in around a month before release to help fine-tune some parts of the game. Very interesting experience, I need to add, but a little moment of silence for this little final message here. And from a heartwarming scene, that would be the end of Mega Man Rock and Roll, everybody.
Beautiful. I recommend for everybody to play this game.
Obviously, a lot of care and thought was put into the run. I hope everyone at least tries it at least once. I will say it's a very difficult game. It's not lean for the casual Mega Man players. Definitely lean towards to the more veteran, a little hardcore Mega Man gamer because it is a very, very difficult game. So hope I still say recommend it. One of the best fan games out there. You can look it up on the internet. I wish I had the website ready on hand to give to you, but just Google it and surely the website for Genesis webpage will be one of the first ones that you can download it for free. It is free to download. And that, like I said, that's pretty much it.
And
So
it's still a lot of care put into it. I mean, it's been recently updated too, right? It's
yeah, version 1.3 is the most recent update. Probably about say about a month or so ago. So yeah. So thank you, Resisting Frame, for helping me with commentary. It definitely helped balance out some of the run in spite of some of my own shenanigans.
no, thank you for having me stop by. I mean, it's an honor. I really love this game. It's one of the few games I actually stop by and actually watch other people stream and just still enjoy it. And of course, seeing a lot of techniques that you've seen and it kind of surprised me. Now I kind of want to start running this game again. So, just thank you for having me by. I hope everyone enjoyed the commentary as well.
Yeah, thanks to both of you for being on the show. Both definitely check both of these fine people out. Great run, Creed. Thanks again, Resisting Frame. But that is it for us tonight. That was the last of our retro grab bag. Tune in tomorrow on GDQ Hotfix for Random Number Generation. It's a show about randomizers and randomizer community adjacent stuff. Sometimes they do bingo. It's hosted by Skybills. It's a good show. If you haven't seen it before, I definitely recommend checking it out. But we're going to wrap up here tonight. We're going to play a few ads, and then we're going to raid someone. So if you want to stick around and keep the speedruns going, we're going to send you in the direction of someone else and wish them best of luck on their speedrunning endeavors. But besides that, we will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern for Random Number Generation.
Good night, everybody.
Take care.